Opening day's here.
Opening day.
Finally, thank goodness.
Yeah. I got a little scared. Yeah, I got scared.
It was a little rough. I admit it. I was like, dang. I'm not. Now what do you do? Because I'm always excited for the Super Bowl because that means that baseball is back.
Right.
I do love football too, but baseball has got a special place in my heart. I mean, two of my children have my favorite baseball player names, so my wife was very generous and allowed that to happen. But it worked out because she's a pretty big baseball fan herself. So
I'm hoping that that Roe lets me name our kid Jackie after Jackie Robinson, but we're still fighting on that. But we went through the lockout, so that was scary. I didn't think, for a second there, I didn't think we were gonna have a baseball season, or if I thought it was just gonna be delayed. So it's nice to have baseball actually starting on time.
I'm actually surprised it's starting in April.
Yeah.
I was thinking it didn't seem like both sides were gonna meet and get it going on time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited that it's here today.
And that they closed the CBA, and that rules went through with the CBA. So that was surprising. So we're going to be talking about a lot of the rule changes. In later episodes, we're going to break down the teams. There was a bunch of moves and change. I mean, there was just a contract extension today that I read on the way over here.
Oh, that's right.
That was huge. So anyways, there's just been a whole bunch of new changes in baseball, but we wanted to do episode 1 and talk through rule changes because there's some big ones.
Yeah, I'm excited. Speaking of contracts, this just popped in my mind. The Mets, Lindor, he is getting $35 million.
Yeah.
And the Oakland A's entire roster is $32 million on opening day.
Yeah.
That's that's some big spending right there.
And that goes into like the whole CBA talks, and part of the changes that they want to do, right, is make teams competitive. Jock Peterson, at this point, a Dodger fan favorite, Atlanta Braves legend already.
Yeah, already.
Yeah, Jocktober.
Third year or something like that. Second year. Yeah.
So, crazy. But no, he's with the Giants now, right? He signed that contract. But he tweeted something that shocked me because I didn't expect it from a player. But he listed the bottom 3 teams payroll wise.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so he called out the bottom 3 teams with the lowest payroll, and was like, "This isn't fair to your fan base. Do better."
Wow, that's one thing to hear it from a former player, but a current player,
right.
A current roster. That's
right. And a roster that's rebuilding.
Yeah.
But what's funny is you just talked about the A's.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in the bottom 3.
Seriously.
Yeah. So it's rough. It's like
I thought that was rough.
Yeah.
Just that fact alone. I think it was on one of the Instagram reels.
Yeah.
And then, like, picture this, and then it showed that. I was shocked to see that stat.
So it just goes to show you, like, some of these changes were absolutely necessary to keep some sort of competitive balance in the game.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I'm excited.
And I'm not a fan of Commissioner Manfred.
Oh, me neither.
Commissioner Seelig, I felt that there were times where I was on his side, and then there were times where, like, what the heck were you thinking?
Yeah.
And the what the heck you were thinking was I think it was the 99 All-Star game or 2001 All-Star game where he's like, oh, it's a tie?
2002, because that was the Diamondbacks. Remember, the Diamondbacks manager was coaching it.
Okay. So, 2002, you're right. But the look on his face, he was not prepared at all for that. But, I mean, he's in the past.
But he never called the World Series trophy a piece of metal. So.
That's true. And when he said he was canceled, if baseball was canceled, I don't know. I think was he the commissioner in '94?
Yes, so I think so.
I don't recall any footage of him smiling ear to ear when they said they were going to postpone or cancel the season that year.
Yeah,
but Manfred is seen smiling. Oh yeah, we're canceling it, and he's smiling.
Yeah,
that's pathetic. But I agree with you. Some of the rule changes needed to happen.
Some of the other ones go back to Manfred. Just I don't. A lot of the changes that he's tried to do has been to try to make baseball, I don't know, I guess more exciting for some. But like those that like baseball, like I don't know, some like for me personally, I'm just like stop messing with the game.
Yeah, I agree. And trying to speed up the game, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the game being boring, because for those of us that are true baseball fans, it doesn't matter the team. I have my favorite team, but it doesn't matter the team that's playing. I just want to watch baseball.
Right.
So if my team's not on TV, I will pick a team. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter what team. I just want to watch baseball.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not alone in that. It's not just me and people that I associate with on the daily.
Yeah.
That feel that way. So to me, I think that is just a business. It's just a business deal where he does not want to pay extra money to the network that it is airing to have a game go longer. And which made it funny. It was more funny to me to see when they added the runner on second and extra innings, is how many games went to 11, 12, 13 innings.
Yeah.
There was very few that ended in the 10th inning. So it doesn't matter. You're trying to speed up the game. The game itself doesn't need to be sped up. I mean, for those fans that say that baseball is boring, go to a game in person.
Yeah.
You know, I challenge you to go to a game in person and realize that all the different cogs and systems that it takes just in pitch by pitch.
Yeah.
It's not just there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes too. If you're just looking at the batter and the pitcher duel right then and there, but then you're also pay attention to the guy that's in the on deck circle taking swings, and he's paying attention to the pitcher, and then the guys in the dugout are looking at the pitcher.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not as simple as most people try to paint it. It's not a simple game. It is, but I do feel that it is for everyone. You don't have to be a diehard fan like us to enjoy the game.
Yeah. And that's why I like some of the changes that happened, not just this year, but, you know, in previous years where it was like the pitch clock. Like, first off, no one's really enforcing that anyways.
No, not at all.
You know, the mound visits, it seems like they tried to enforce it more last year. But, I mean, we're talking, like, just seconds off the game.
Yeah.
Like, does it really matter if the game is a total of 4 minutes longer? Really, with what they're doing, it's going to make it more difficult on the pitching side.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
pitchers are creatures of habit.
Right.
And it's not just reserved for pitchers, but pitchers are most creatures of habit. They have when they get their sign from their catcher, if there's a runner on, they may act differently. You know, if they're throwing from the stretch, they may act differently. So I think it's a hinder to the pitchers in a way. Now, I know you got to adapt and evolve with the game in itself, but at the same time, a lot of these pitchers that are coming up, or currently veterans in the league, like Madison Bumgarner, if you look video footage, you can see that Mad Bum, there's little small things that he's toyed with and kinks that he's removed, but his approach from batter to batter and wind up wise is relatively the same.
Yeah.
So I think that it you know, the argument could potentially be that, well, what if they got that in their mind? I got, 14 seconds, 12 seconds, or something, like 7 seconds. I don't know. I can see there are some pitchers that took forever.
Yeah, Pedro Baez.
Pedro Baez was one. El Duque, Orlando Hernandez took a long time sometimes. But I think that for some pitchers, it could mess with their psyche to where if there's a runner on second and it's a lefty and they can see that runner, but at the same time, they're like, wait, how many seconds have I been waiting?
Yeah. I mean, look, Pedro Baez got the nickname the human rain delay.
Yeah,
and so there's some pitchers that are like that take forever to throw. But there's some that just, they have a groove and there's just, I don't know, basically everything's been heading into how do we get more runs? Because Manfred thinks that that's what makes the game exciting. Me, you know, I used to catch, and so I love pitchers duels. I like that chess game, but I understand that people like to see action. They want to see the runs.
Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, really, a lot of the changes has been just to try to increase runs, and it's like instead of forcing the batters to, what's the word, adjust to the pitching that that we've been seeing. It's now like taking a shift, especially this year.
Yeah.
So leading into the first rule, universal DH.
Yeah. First take. What do you think?
So I'm a National League guy, right? So, man, bro, initial thoughts, I don't like it, just because it goes back to changing the game.
Yeah.
I like the chess game. Not having a DH, there's a lot more things that you have to think about.
Oh, absolutely.
You have
and not just the beginning, but late into the game.
Right, and again, being a Dodger fan, I'm super critical. Everyone knows this. If you follow me on Twitter, you know this. I'm super critical of Dave Roberts. I think the way that he manages games was horrendous for a large portion of his tenure with the Dodgers. Whether it's using a bunch of pinch hitters or subbing guys out when maybe you should save those guys in case we go extra innings, and then we reach extra innings, we don't have guys.
And I think that's the main is one of the big worries too.
Yeah.
Is, well, what if we go past and we get into free baseball and then we need more people?
Right. That's my initial reaction. I just really liked the chess piece. So for those that don't really follow baseball as much, once you take a pitcher out, they can't come back into the game.
Right.
And so in crucial situations late in the game, let's say it's a tie game and you have runners on base and you really needed a hit, but your pitcher's up to bat, well, you got to start thinking, am I going to take my pitcher out who may be pitching the best game of his life? Do I take him out and bring in someone that can hit to try to drive in the runs?
And I mean, let's be honest. Most pitchers, when they see when people see a pitcher in the batting order in the National League, they automatically assume, well,
automatic
anytime
out.
That's an out.
Yeah.
So, and I can understand why. There are some pitchers that it looked like they never held a bat in their hands in their life.
Yeah.
So that I understand. Universal DH, I completely disagree with it. 100%, I don't like it, and I think it's more along the lines of a baseball purist. Even though my favorite team is in the American League and they use the DH, I still love to see my team's pitchers when they had interleague play. I still appreciated seeing those pitchers in the box, because when baseball began, I mean, they toyed with the DH. I don't know if very many fans of baseball know this, but they toyed with the DH in the 1800s, and then they just eradicated it because they said everybody that's on the field needs to also bat. And there was just this argument back and forth that went on for decades. And then finally, in 1973, they convened and they decided, well, the American League decided we're going to allow a designated hitter for the pitcher that's in the lineup. And I thought that was pretty cool. I was not alive for that, but anyway, I do like the DH, but I also enjoyed watching the pitchers hit.
Yeah.
In my day, watch Greg Maddux. He could put the stick on the ball.
Yeah, Zach Greinke, current player. I mean, he's won the Silver Slugger on the pitching side. I think that's the only thing missing from Kershaw's trophy case, and I know he was trying really hard last season, take some extra cuts just because.
And I love it. I love it that he is. It almost sometimes it seems he's more excited to get a spot in the lineup hitting than he is to pitch against certain ball clubs.
Yeah,
he's not like that all the time, but on certain ball clubs, it's like, okay, let's see what I can do with their ace.
I mean,
or see what I can do with their pitcher in the lineup currently.
Even Zach Greinke, so when he signed with the Royals, so he went back to the team that drafted him. But
real quickly, you think it's end for him? You think this is the end? You think that he got an opportunity to play for the team that drafted him? Do you think he's going to be
like Albert Pujols type?
Call it quits? Yeah.
You know what? I haven't thought about it. I don't see it. Greinke's such a competitor, and he still has good stuff. But he's all like he's so.
I think he's got a couple more years left.
But,
I mean, his arm. I haven't seen deterioration in his arm.
Yeah, he has good stuff. The thing with Greinke though is he's probably the. I don't know how to say it now. Greinke's the weirdest guy in all of baseball.
Yeah.
So like
I
could see him retiring, and just because he doesn't care what people say or think.
Yeah.
But he has the stuff.
I can just see like his last start. And he's like, well, I really enjoyed playing baseball.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened there? And so.
But
yeah,
he brought up, before, so someone asked him, like, hey, what was the big deciding factor of playing for the Royals?
Yeah.
He's like, to be honest, I was looking at, National League teams until they announced the DH. He's I don't want to play in the National League because I wanted to hit.
Okay.
So if there was if pitchers were still allowed to bat in the National League, he's like, I'd probably go to a National League team.
So this universal DH that is now in effect in 2022, and I think it's to 2026.
I think that's what the agreement is.
So the CBA, you've heard us say the CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement between the Major League Baseball Players Association and the front office of Major League Baseball. In the early 1980s, when they lobbied for this universal DH, I just read this article, and this surprised me. They had the National League teams, more than enough of them were voting for universal DH.
Yeah.
And then Pittsburgh GM or owner was instructed to whatever Philadelphia does, we'll go with them. And the Philadelphia GM, the owner, said, we'll pretty much do what Pittsburgh does, and then one other team. I think it was Cincinnati. Maybe it was Cincinnati. Maybe not. Don't quote me on that. So they were like, okay, so if Pittsburgh does this, if Cincinnati, we'll just say Cincinnati for argument purposes. Cincinnati does this, then us, the Phillies, will go along with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the stand-in, the proxy for the owner, is at the vote time. Something changed with one of the other ball clubs that before the meeting was, well, this is how we're going to do it, how they go along. But the Phillies guy, the proxy, the stand-in, was like, well, I'm not making this huge change, or with this new information. I'm not going to go ahead and go with what we had talked about, barring this new information. And I can't really remember what the new information was. So he couldn't get a hold of him because the owner was on a fishing trip.
Yeah, he was on a boat.
He was on a boat. And in the early 1980s, for those of you that are very attached to your cell phones, there was no cell phones in the 1980s. So I was old enough for that. Anyway, couldn't get a hold of his owner, so he said no. And the universal DH lost out by one vote.
Yeah.
But think about all the designated hitters. I do like the DH for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
But I also like in the World Series when, even if my team doesn't make it, I most always go to the National League.
Yeah.
But I like to see the American League change their structure on how they prepare for the games that are going to be in the National League ballparks.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that back and forth because for a baseball is 162 games. It is the longest season, and it is the only professional sports that starts in one year and it ends in that same year.
Yeah.
So that I always thought that was weird too with other sports.
Where it goes into the next year.
Yeah, you're like, wait, because so one time when you hear stats from so was that the 1999 2000 or was that 2000? So the baseball, you hear a year and you're like, oh yeah, it was that year.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was how I enjoy I like how they do that. I did enjoy the DH, and I liked how they went, and you could see sometimes they always show the managers when they right before they start. I know they've already prepared prior to showing up at the ballpark on that day of the game, but I liked how you would see certain players or certain managers, and they're still kind of, okay, now what I planned, you tell that they're running through scenarios in their head. It's like what I thought about previously. I'm looking, and they go, you can see some of them even look at the field. Like I noticed Bobby Cox would look at the field, and when they were in American League ballparks, and he would kind of, and almost sometimes he would adjust his rotation based on the dimensions of the field. I'm like, oh, that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
But I do like the DH, but I don't like it universally.
You brought up a good point, and that's what I was gonna say.
And it has extended players' careers.
Yeah.
That couldn't play every day.
No, for sure.
So
it definitely adds jobs. It adds jobs for hitters. But you had a good point that I was gonna bring up, which was just the strategy in World Series games, because it is different when a manager, especially if a manager doesn't have a whole lot of National League experience. So if he's been in the American League, so long, and maybe he's a new manager and now he's in the World Series and has to figure out, like, bro, even carrying, like, do I carry extra pitcher?
right.
Or do I carry extra position players for when we play in the National League stadiums to pinch hit? And like, there's so much strategy that goes behind it. And unfortunately, we're not really going to see that. We're not going to have the Bartolo Colon home run moment.
I'm glad he got his home run though.
Yeah.
All the years you see him struggling in the box, but he enjoyed being there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like some people like Blake Snell. Watching him, he just kind of
Yeah.
And then you sometimes, I swear, it sounded like somebody in, because sometimes when you watch the games on TV, sometimes the mics, it appears that they are closer to the field than other times. I swear I heard somebody be like, swing the bat! And he he took his time and he looked back, and then it was almost like he was in his head, he was like, forget it. And he corkscrewed, and then after that particular time, I never saw him swing. Seriously, I never saw him swing again. It was just, you could tell that he was just, it was almost like when you get up and you're kind of measuring your stroke, and he kind of just sat there.
Yeah. Like
the kid that was forced to play ball, and I ain't swinging. And then, earlier, when he asked about it, he's like, when I came to the league, I came to pitch, I didn't come to hit.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I understand that, but it was part of the game. At that time, it was a part of the game.
You know what else I'm interested in is to see how teams, specifically National League teams, now build their rosters.
Oh, yeah.
Because on the American League side, you had, like, everyone had a DH. Like, for the most part, most American League teams had a Big Papi over in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Nelson Cruz was a DH for a long time. I mean, most National League teams, they have that one specific person that is their go-to DH. And on the National League side, you didn't really see that because they had to play the field.
Yeah.
And so now I'm interested to see how they rebuild some of these rosters to include the DH. And I'm also interested in see how National League team managers now manage the game. For example, I go back to Dave Roberts. He's really, really big on just subbing players out. He's big on doing like platoon, right? Like, having this person hits really good against lefties, this person hits really good against righties, and just swapping their days like that. So I'm interested to see now how he goes about subs.
That's true. And you mentioned Nelson Cruz. If the universal DH doesn't come in effect this year, does he play? Does he find himself on a roster this year? Because the American League rosters, I can plug him into a couple of rosters, but with new additions on American League clubs, it's kind of difficult to plug him in on any of those American League rosters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that, to me, that I think that extended his career because he's with the Washington Nationals.
Yeah. And it's crazy that guy can hit so well for. I mean, he's over 40 now.
He is.
He crushes it. The other part, and I actually have a hot take on this. So, with the DH rule and the next rule that we'll be kind of talking about, I have a really hot take. I think baseball is going to kind of switch into more of like the NBA format.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next rule, to your knowledge, throughout, it doesn't matter if you were able to watch them live or not. your top 3 designated hitters.
Oh, well, Big Papi number 1, without a doubt. I was lucky enough to go to a game in LA because it was Boston versus LA when they did the interleague play, which is something else I want to talk about. But yeah, I was able to see them there, and it was really dope. But Big Papi, I mean, he's probably the biggest one that stands out in my mind. Number 2, I might be biased here, Edgar Martinez.
Okay. I can see that.
I feel like he laid the foundation for DH players. Again, I could be biased, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he's Puerto Rican Hall of Famer, my guy. So I gotta go with him.
He's a good player, absolutely good player. I mean, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So number 3, what you got?
Number 3, I mean, I gotta go with just Nelson Cruz, just because he's a current day player, and so people can probably relate to seeing him. Yeah, I mean, that's a good example of what the DH can do. We already kind of talked about it, but he extended his career by being the DH. And there's so many other guys that had injuries. Giancarlo was another one that, he gets time at DH because, so he doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Dodgers are probably going to do something similar with Justin Turner. But Nelson Cruz, that's more of a standard DH that's been around for a long time, and I know people can still watch him today. So those would probably be my 3.
So I'm pretty close with your top 3. Number 1, Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
I liked watching him play in the hot corner, third base, for those that don't know that. And I saw his swing evolve depending on the pitcher. Growing up, my favorite player was Ken Griffey Jr., and I got to watch him a handful of times. I got to meet him twice. But I noticed different pitchers, like when he faced John Crook, he had a little more closed stance.
Yeah.
And when he faced Mariano Rivera, his stance was a little bit open, and he had his hands up a little higher.
Yep.
And he still got a couple hits off of Rivera. And then there was another. Oh man, I lost his name. Anyways, there's an Indians pitcher that I noticed him kind of change. Smoltz comes to mind, but he was with the Braves. I don't remember him playing against Smoltz. Anyways, I noticed that, and there's not too many hitters that do that. Maybe their front leg they'll move it slightly, but he moved his hands, and that I was a little shocked.
Yeah.
But so that's my number 1, and number 2 is David Ortiz.
I was gonna say, don't be a hater, bro.
No. He's saying that because I'm a Yankee fan. So no, and he is one of the Red Sox players that I could see him walking down the street, and even if I had a Yankee cap on, I would not. There's no shade, no hate, because I enjoyed his soundbite. Is you guys are talking about this rivalry all this time.
Yeah.
We finally beat them. Now it's a rivalry.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed that, and it hurt all the times that he took us deep and took the Yankees deep, and he did some damage. But I really think his career definitely extended being a DH, because at first base he struggled.
Yeah.
He struggled.
Yeah.
He was good enough to be on a major league roster. There's no denying that. But he struggled.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he felt a little more comfortable when he knew in the lineup he was a DH.
Yeah.
He was more relaxed. He was more focused. I mean the focus didn't lack. But what I mean is by focusing is you could tell there was no worries.
Right. Yeah.
Because all he had to do was step in the box.
He just had to crush it.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
For most of his career, but a lot of people forget that when he came up with Minnesota, he was an outfield first baseman.
Yep.
And he tremendously struggled. And the Red Sox, the Twins, kind of just like, we don't know what to do with this guy.
Yeah.
So here, we'll give you him. And Red Sox Nation is like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because he turned out to be arguably one of their better players.
Did you hear the story behind that with Pedro Martinez?
No.
Pedro Martinez took some Red Sox guys, scouts and just front office people.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, I want you guys to see someone. Took them down to the ER, and there was this guy just crushing it.
Okay.
And it was David Ortiz.
Oh, man. I love that. I love that when current MLB players or even former MLB players, when they lobby for another athlete, it doesn't matter where they come from, too.
Yeah.
I really that it keeps the camaraderie and that fraternity going.
Yeah.
So, so that's my number 2, and number 3. It was kind of a toss up for me between Frank Thomas.
That's who I was gonna say.
And the reason why it's a little toss up to me is because the majority of his career was first base.
That was my point.
He never played DH. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, really, he never played DH till the end of his career.
Right.
So number 3 was kind of a toss up for me with Frank Thomas and Paul Molitor.
Okay.
Paul Molitor.
A lot of, unless you play MLB The Show, I bet people don't know that second name.
That's probably right. So Paul, if you're a Brewers fan, you better know who he is.
Yeah.
But so he is a very good ball player to come out of the Brewers organization. I don't know if he started with
could play
for the Brewers organization.
I think he played second base before he went DH. Second and third.
It almost seemed like when he got the nod that he was DH, and a lot of people don't know that the Brewers were in the American League for quite some time. It wasn't until not that long ago that the Brewers went to the National League.
Yeah.
So had they been in the National League, where would he have been traded? Would he have gone anywhere? And he's got pretty good numbers at the DH position. I think he might have the most hits as a sole DH.
Really? More than Edgar?
I think so. Because you remember, most of Edgar's career was third base.
Yeah.
And I think he played some first, too, when Griffey was coming through.
Yeah.
So Edgar Martinez, when you would, because I got to watch Edgar Martinez. I know I'm older than you, but I got to watch Edgar Martinez play a couple times here in spring training and live on TV. And I noticed how his power just kept.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning he was trying too hard, and then he realized when force equals mass, that equals a long ball usually.
See, and I almost went with the Big Hurt. I'm seeing our chat blow up. Big Hurt's a popular one. The only reason I didn't say Big Hurt was one, I know how many DH games. I didn't know that ratio between DH and games in the field. But two, I was trying to think of someone that's still currently playing that people can identify with. Because I remember when I started watching baseball, the DH for me was like, oh, you can't field. Like, you suck at field. You're such a liability on the field that you're the DH.
That's a good word. That's a nice word. Liability. Yeah, because there were some players that like Ruben Sierra towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like he knew that he was going to be a DH for a ball club, so he just forgot his outfield skills, and then they try to plug him in at first. But I thought it was funny because you would see, sometimes when they would show, now they're more accessible to see the warm up, to see the post game activities, but a lot of the times when you were watching a program on television and then the next thing to come up was the baseball game.
Yeah.
It was almost like they're showing you batting practice or fielding practice prior to the game.
Yeah.
You would see a lot of those, and when Ruben Sierra, I remember seeing him with his glove. They were going to play the Oakland A's in Oakland. I remember seeing his glove, and he was talking to one of the pitchers in the outfield, because a lot of the pitchers will catch fly balls that are maybe not put in work that day, and then he would just had his hands on his hips, and his glove was barely on his hand, and he's talking to one of the pitchers, and a ball came to him. And you could just see his eyes, and he took about 3 or 4 steps to his left, and he looked at it, and then he went back to the conversation like, oh, so anyways, that fly ball, interrupted. So as I was saying, type of deal. So I thought it was interesting how he definitely became a liability towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
No discredit to him. It's just he knew his place. He knew where he was going to go, and he still was a tremendous hitter. There were still times where you knew that he was getting on base or he was getting a ribby. You just knew it. So I'm not discrediting him in any way. I'm just saying that I felt that as a fan watching from afar, because I didn't know what he did day to day. I'm not claiming to know that either. I'm just saying that watching him on TV, it seemed like if he was in the field, it was like, this is kind of like an extended day off because I'm not really going to pay attention here type of deal, you know? So, that would be Paul Molitor and Frank Thomas. The big hurt would be my last. And it's a tie. It's a toss-up. I can't really decide who. Now, an active player, right now, if you're telling me right now, active player, I'm gonna go with Pujols and Nelson Cruz would definitely be in the conversation. Yeah. Because without that universal rule, we don't get to see him be a Cardinal. We don't. We would get to see him be a Cardinal, but it was one of those 3-day contracts or 1-day contract and then officially retire. Yeah. But we don't get to see him play this season. Or
like just like a bench coach type
or something like that. Yeah.
Type of role.
Yeah. Something like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now he gets playing time. Good call.
Yeah. I've enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah. He was one of my all-time favorites growing up. It was basically him and A-Rod, and after the whole steroid thing with A-Rod. And honestly, that's a big thing for like a big knock that I have against Nelson Cruz was the steroids. But this dude's I mean, when you're like, I think he's 43
or 40. I think he's turning 44 this year,
and he can hit, guys. So yeah.
Yes, he can hit. Well, I watched spring training, and he hit 2 or 3. Yeah. That as soon as he made contact at the plate, as you're hearing the sound, because spring training you can hear the sound a lot better than you can in the regular season. But when some of his hits, I didn't even get to hear the sound because the sound wasn't very high, and I just saw him like, oh, that's out. Yeah. And I didn't even look at the outfielder because it didn't show the outfielder yet. I'm like, oh, that's out. I mean, he just had this stroke of power. Yeah. Just elevated over that wall. He is a good hitter. I'm blanking on the couple positions that he played.
Outfield, corner outfield.
Okay, I didn't think he was a center fielder. So yeah, the universal DH, I'm definitely not. I don't like it, but I also understand it and I appreciate it. Yeah. And I appreciate if Pujols wasn't here, I'd probably be like, nah, get rid of it. Yeah. Get rid of it. But because Pujols, we get to see him one more time. Yeah. And he belonged in Cardinal Red. Yeah. I mean, I'm nothing against the Angels organization, but
they did him dirty.
They did do him dirty. It was really weird seeing him with an Angels lettering on his jersey. No. I mean, the red was relatively similar, but it still was. It was. Anytime I tune into a game where the Angels were playing and watching him at bat, I was like, oh man, that's still. I know he's been there, but that looks weird. Yeah. There are certain players you go through history that I have in my mind, and I'm sure you could come up with quite a few names too. There are certain players that just belong in certain leagues, and for whatever reason. So, and by saying that now, that in my opinion completely eliminates players that belong in certain leagues.
Yeah. Before we go to the next topic, the only other person I was kind of thinking about, but it goes back to the ratio of how many games he's actually DHing, is a player similar to Pujols, but Miguel Cabrera.
Jim Thome could be in there.
Jim Thome's another one.
Yep. I think that position extended his career, and it not only extended his career, you could see the confidence come back. Yeah. From his days at playing in AL teams, because he was with the Phillies for a while, and he still could hit. I mean, there's not much that hitting was not an issue for Jim Thome. There's no denying that.
So next rule.
Expanded postseason. So, like we said before, 162 games has always been the longest schedule and the smallest playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I like the postseason being expanded, but I'm okay with 6 teams, better than 8 or 7.
Yeah. So baseball proposed, what was it? 8, right? 8 per league.
Yeah.
I think they wanted 16 teams, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of cut back and eventually, you know, they settled on a number, which is still an increase from the year prior.
They kept wielding it back.
Yeah.
Because there was one of the last proposals too was, okay, fine, 7 teams. This is what we're doing. 7 teams per league.
Yeah.
And then they ended up with 6. But
I guess my thing is 162 games. You have, you know, the 30 teams. How does half of them go to the postseason? Like, I mean, that's basically the number that they were trying to reach. And
yeah.
And let's think about it. We all know why. If you put enough thought behind it, you understand why. It's Manfred's trying to, you know, make baseball more exciting. And so for that fan base that doesn't get to see their team in the playoffs, now you know they have a chance. But again, like, for me personally, it just doesn't make sense to have 100. Like, why the 162 game grind then? 162 games.
Go back to 154.
Right, and then have like half the teams make it, and because here's the thing, baseball is unlike other sports.
Right.
If you go on a run, right, if you just happen to squeeze into the playoffs and then go on a run, you could win the World Series.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the Cardinals, that Cardinals team,
which one? 07?
when they beat the Rangers, or I don't remember the year. 06, I think.
06, I think you're right.
Anyways, they went on that crazy run in September. I think they were in 3rd place in their division. Went on a crazy run, and it came down to the last day of the season. They won their game. Someone lost. Boom, they made it in the playoffs, and they were hot. They weren't doing that good all year long, but they went on this huge run the last month of the season. Boom, won the World Series.
I think it's more common to see that burst in the end with football.
Yeah.
With football, there are teams that just squeak on in, just barely get into the postseason, and then they do extremely well. But I think that I don't know. The 6. I'm okay with 6, then the 8 or even 7 is a little bit. That's a little bit much for me.
Yeah.
So I do like that, and the fan, like when you brought up the fan base. The fan base is the ones that every year, it doesn't matter, their team gets just that close.
Yeah.
For them, when they saw that rule change, they're like, "Oh, we're in now."
Yeah, I'm saying this on record right now. I honestly I was kind of cheering for them before this change, but with this change, I think that the Mariners break their streak, and they make the playoffs. I don't remember the exact number of years it is, but the Mariners haven't been in the postseason in.
Well, I mean, 98.
So
98. They should have, and then they that's probably 98 or 99 is the team that, if you look on paper, you look on what they did that year, by the All-Star break, they're winning it all. Yeah. And then they fall short. I think they lost in the division or the championship series.
What was that, over 20 years?
That was the last time they got close. But 95, with the 95 division series, Mattingly's last year with the Yankees, they beat the Yankees and went on to the, moved on. Yeah. And that was a ball club that looked
that was a beast.
Like they were doing something. Yeah. That I agree. I agree with that. The Mariners are going to get over the hump and get back in the postseason. I really like they added Joely Rodriguez. They're calling him J-Rod. J-Rod. To their opening day roster. That young man can hit. Yeah. He's a 5-tool player in my mind. Maybe 4.5-tool player. But I got to watch a lot of his games in the spring, this last spring training, and he just For people that don't know who he is, they might think, well, that's a little much. He's coming a little fast. He's got over 300 minor league games.
Yeah,
and he does well at the major league level. I think he is a great addition to their major league roster, and I think he's gonna do really well. I'm looking forward to watching that young man get going.
I'm excited for teams like that. Mariners were last in the playoffs in 2001, so wow. So yeah, it's been over 20 years then.
Jeez, that's crazy.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for those type of fan bases that. Like, it's not like the Mariners haven't tried. They've been doing this rebuild. They've tried trading for the different pieces. They just can't seem to get over the hump, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of that could be, the division, right? But so I'm excited for fan bases like that. I just can't wrap my head around the teams that just don't really got it, and teams that honestly just don't deserve to be in the postseason are now going to, or baseball is trying to have half the teams go in. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, oh man.
You're going to have sub 500 teams.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I've been saying, I'm okay with 6 teams. I might even be okay with 7, but
the 8 was ridiculous.
You're like half the league is going in automatically.
Yeah.
Just so I just you have a team that has been prosperous the entire season, and then on a day that they just are not with it, this below 500 team swoops in and knocks them out. That's disappointing.
Right.
It doesn't even matter what club it is. It's just disappointing all together.
So here's my hot take with the 2 rule changes and where I think it's heading. I fully expect, next CBA that they're going to try to push for more teams. I mean, they were at 16 teams and, went down.
I can see that because there's so many markets on the West Coast and even the East Coast. But the one that comes to mind is Vegas and Utah.
Yeah.
Or the 2 that come to mind.
Yeah.
Because Vegas is
Vegas for sure.
I'm surprised they don't have a baseball team yet.
Yeah.
Like when the Expos moved, I thought for sure they were going to Vegas.
Yeah.
But it obviously didn't happen. But yeah, go ahead, keep going.
So my hot take is I think that divisions are going to be irrelevant, and we're going to do more of a league thing similar to like the NBA, where it's the top 8 teams in each league.
Okay.
And, so in NBA you have the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference. For baseball, it's National League, American League. Mm-hmm. That's why I said league. But I think that's where it's headed because, bro, I mean, with the universal DH, I mean, in the 90s, they introduced interleague play. And a lot of that was to be able to see, again, the pitchers hit for fan bases that weren't used to that, for people in the National League fan base to see the DH, right? And do those rules. Now that's gone. Mm-hmm. Now we expand the playoffs. I feel like we're just heading in this direction where divisions are going to soon be irrelevant, and it's going to be just a conference or a league type format. It's just the top 8 or top. I'm using 8 because that's really what that's what they were pushing for.
Right.
So the top 8 in each league make it to the playoffs, and then just do the seeds based on that.
See, I can see that. I really can see that happening just because, and it changes. It's going to change the way ball clubs manage.
Oh, for sure.
Because before you just had to beat out 3 teams.
Yeah.
Or 4 teams. Now. You can't do that. You can't just focus on getting. Oh, we just got to get up in our division.
Yeah.
Now you got to focus. Well, we have more to do. So I think that will definitely change.
Or even the other way around. Think about I see the National League West as being just a super. It's such like a wild card type of division. I mean, last year everyone was screaming that the Padres were going to be, the Dodgers rivals, and who's going to take it, Dodgers or Padres, and the Giants came out of nowhere, right? I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to repeat that. If they do, Gabe Kepler is the greatest manager of all time.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers should have hired him over Dave Roberts. But hey, that's if that happens. Now, like, if I was like, I don't know, a team like the Giants, right? I'm like, I don't need to perform. I don't need to win 100 games. Now with the expanded format or the expanded playoffs,
yeah.
I can basically squeak right in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, even with the Dodgers and those two teams can beat me, and I could still, earn a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's. I do think that format it may not be as close as we're suspecting it to be.
No, it'll have to be. I would assume probably the next CBA. I mean, I don't see them. I think they could if they wanted to. I don't think.
I think that would if they do, that could be one of the easier ones to get that in place for the next. Because they're
and that's what I'm saying. I think this
one.
I think all this was like stepping stone.
Could be. They could have just thrown out a big number.
Yeah.
Just to like, okay, well, you already allowed 6, but they really wanted 7.
Right.
So they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have 7.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you on that. So, you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
So the next one, they're going to eliminate COVID protocols and the game speed. And I like this because it helps out a lot, but I also like this because when you're talking in terms of game speed, I really appreciate that they're so my compromise to the universal DH in my own mind is by the CBA. We're no longer going to have 7-inning doubleheaders the last 2 seasons, and so I think now that if that's official rule change, now you got to go back and Bumgarner pitched a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And so that's got to be recorded as a no-hitter now. What do you think?
I said that when it happened, as much as
because that was on record a full game.
Yes.
So
I said that should count as a no-hitter when it happened, and that's me, a Dodger fan who, I mean, Mad Bum pitched for the Giants for years, and there's legit hate there.
Yeah.
For real. But no, that should. I mean, bro, how is it his fault? You made the damn rule. That's a complete game. But
all the hitters that got hits, you got doubles, triples.
Yeah.
Home runs, are we gonna take those out too? They didn't take those out.
Now that being said, I thought that the 7th inning games were a joke.
I disagreed completely. I'm so glad that that's gone.
Yeah.
And then because they were trying to minimize the time at the ballpark.
That's
ridiculous. Those that know there's doubleheaders and they're buying tickets for doubleheaders, they don't give a flying rat's.
Right. And they're probably saying for both, so it's really
yeah, they most likely are there for both.
Yeah, so we're looking at 4 innings. I don't know. I just thought that there was other ways to do it, even if it was rescheduling or whatever.
Yeah, and part of the game speed is there's no longer in extra innings having ghost runner on second. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
I hated that. It wasn't that. It
felt really
effective,
wiffle ball
but it did. It was like what if there's a team that struggled and they were losing the entire game, and at the bottom of the ninth they come in and they tie it, or the top of the ninth they tie it, and then it goes in extra innings, and baseball, it doesn't. You go 18 innings, I will watch it if it's. If I like it, I'll watch it. And I think that worrying about game speed, it doesn't matter for people that enjoy the game.
Yeah. On
another level than this game's long. It's going too long. So it doesn't matter. And trying to speed up the game, thinking that it would only go to 10 innings, or only going to maybe 11 innings. There were very few, to my knowledge. I think I remember seeing this where the majority of them went 11 and beyond.
Yeah.
There was very few that was 10 innings.
Yeah.
So that I thought was you, man. For
so I'm not gonna lie. There was 2 big change, or that specific change showed me 2 big it showed me how far the game has changed.
Okay.
So I had two things that stood out. One was what you just mentioned, how many games didn't end at 10.
Yeah.
The other thing that surprised me.
I was hoping. I'm like, no, I hope it goes to 11 or 12 or more, just because.
I think the Dodgers had like a 15 inning or 16 inning game. I was like, but here's the other thing that surprised me, and it showed how far the game has changed. Is I don't know about you, but the games that I watched, I didn't see many attempts to bunt the guy over to third.
No. And
to me, that's such a like. I'm doing that all day in the show. If I have a guy on second,
and I'm extra innings, absolutely, absolutely.
I bunt the guy over to third, and now I just need a sac fly, and boom, I'm done.
There were times where I would sub in somebody that I knew was gonna hit it over the infield, just to move him over.
Right.
That's it. Just to get that sack in there. I didn't want to see that in live baseball, but I did it in a game.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, I thought that was funny. It just showed me how the game's just shifted, and we don't really do the whole small ball thing. That's going to shift even more with the universal DH.
Yeah, because there's I mean, if you get the National League ball clubs that have acquired or decided you're our DH, their job is to hit,
right?
Not bunt. Their job is to hit.
Right.
I mean, there is argument for a bunt because you can bunt over a hitter, but let's be honest, you're not going to see very many bunts, if any, from the DH position this year. That's not the reason they're the designated hitter.
And see, but that just adds, I don't know, maybe I'm just old school, but that's just another strategy that I'm going to miss is the bunting, the stealing, I mean, we hardly even see hit and runs anymore. It's basically just like go up there, hit, and try to crush it.
Yeah.
But
this guy, I saw his comments. Hey, that's just the big brother letting the little brother get his wins back. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm so glad that Ghost Runner's gone.
Yeah.
Like I'm beyond excited.
I'm actually surprised they changed it, but I'm glad that it's gone.
Yeah, I am too. And it was one of those rules that they're not really talking about.
Yeah.
They kind of just, we're going to just put this in here and we'll see if everybody likes it. But I like it. And then the next one they call, I don't know, for Brewers fans, you're going to know who this is. But Jacob Nottingham is the catcher, first baseman. I think he even played some right field.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe once or twice. Anyways, they're calling it the Nottingham rule.
Yeah.
And it's because last season, he spent most of the time being shuttled back and forth between Seattle and Milwaukee. And one of them would place him on waivers and the other would claim him. I mean, how mixed emotional is that for that player? Like, they got to come in and tell him, hey, man, we're going to put you on waivers.
Yeah.
And then the other club is like, hey, we're going to bring you back. And they're like, we're going to put you on waivers again.
Yeah.
What the heck? So I agree with this, that once, and many times, it would be days. Like, he's on the club for days, put on waivers, and then he's back with that club that just put him on waivers.
And so break down what waivers is for non-baseball fans, and we can kind of talk about, like, why a club would do it. Because that kind of goes into another rule that they did as far as, like, expansion of rosters and roster moves.
But, that's right. That's what we were talking about earlier. Well, before we started the podcast. But so the waivers, the lowest seed gets a shot.
Gets shot first, yeah.
Okay, and then it goes from the lowest seed up to the top. And if it goes through that and nobody claims them, then the original ball club that put them on waivers can bring them back, and they can retain them, and it's the lower salary cap hit.
Yeah, and so there's a whole bunch of exactly. It's a salary cap thing, and it's also they can also use it to because you can only move a player up and down so many times too.
Well, so with this Nottingham rule now, because before, like let's say that the Mariners were last year, so every time they would get their pick. They would be like, okay, we'll bring him back.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter which. Oh, we'll bring him back. So now well, just for argument's sake, if the Mariners did that to a player, now they have to wait for all the other ball clubs to pass on them before they bring them back.
Which, I mean, that makes sense.
I like that because now you can't. Because that's really, you're wasting trees by all that paperwork that you're putting in just to get that going. But that didn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, basically teams will, like, if, let's say someone got hurt, they need to bring someone up from their farm system to, fill in. They would send people up and down, and you can only do that so many times. And once they reach their limit, they have to go through the whole waiver system.
And now that's a great segue for the next rule,
right?
Because now the player can be only optioned 5 times per year,
right?
So that changes a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers were really big. I mean last year was, I mean we faced. I mean everyone had injuries, but with the whole Trevor Bauer situation, then our Dustin May needed his surgery. Right. Tommy John. May. I mean.
Oh, I watched that game when he did it, man. Yeah. That was hard. That was hard to watch.
We went from having the best starting rotation, hands down, to who's pitching tomorrow. And so, we had to call up a whole bunch of guys. And then what happens once, think about it, guys. So you call a pitcher up, they need 5 days rest, but you need someone else to pitch. So what are you going to do? You send that guy back down, you bring someone else up, and you just do this rotation, right?
So when we're talking about bringing them up and putting them back down, there's 5 levels in baseball. There's the rookie league, there's single A, double A, triple A, and then the show, major league level. So, but I think with this too, like let's say, so Derek Jeter, he moved from rookie ball all the way, he progressed all the way through single A, double A, triple A,
right,
to the major league. So he was drafted in 92, 96 was the first time he got rookie service time. I think that changes a lot the way they progress players as well.
Yeah.
But on that side, there's also different. I was watching Bill Ripken talk about this a couple of days ago. He said, and I agree wholeheartedly with him, he's saying if a guy's hitting 340 and he's in single A ball, and then you put him to double A ball and he's hitting 340, skip triple A and put him to the major leagues.
Yeah.
Because there's not there doesn't, sometimes with some of these players, they're that ready.
Yeah.
That they don't need that progression of.
It's still professional pitching. I
right.
mean, that's why like when players get hurt before they go back to major league assignment, they'll have like a game in double A or triple A to, just start seeing the ball again, I mean.
So it's just in my mind, it's just the evolution of the baseball player. He's Bill Ripken, or Cal Ripken Jr., he progressed through the leagues. Derek Jeter progressed through the leagues. So that is just amazing to see that some of these ball players they inevitably skip a couple of levels. And I know the baseball purists are like, oh, you got to go through the progression. If they're ready, they're ready.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter to me. And there are certain ball clubs and certain fan bases that it's only going to matter if that doesn't transition to pro level, to the show level. So if they're doing astronomical numbers in AAA and then they get moved up and then they fall.
Yeah.
I mean, to me that's expected. Numbers are going to decline a little bit. Now they're not going to go from a 330 hitter to a 180 hitter. That is a little drastic in my mind.
Right.
I mean, it's happened, but to me, I think that the evolution of baseball players now, it's just exciting to watch because of that.
I don't know if we have it on our list, but it ties into the service time.
Yeah, it is. It's on here. Let's go back into that or the service time.
Because I think that's a big change, and that's good for the younger players.
Yeah. So when Joel brought up service time, what that means that if a minor league player gets optioned to the show, meaning he's either AAA, AA, whatever he's on. Now he's on the roster for the major league level. You have to be in so many games to be considered like Joely Rodriguez. He's never been on the major league level now.
Yeah.
If he has to meet the criteria for so many games, and then but a lot of the times they knew that they wanted to bring them along on a certain time, but for salary cap, for other reasons, they would I don't even remember the number, but let's say 50 games. So they would hold up. They were 49 games. They would see action, and then they would take them out and not put them on the roster anymore. And then so even though the 50 games or the 49 games were played, and they needed that 50th game, then the next year, if they're most likely going to be on the major league roster, and then that time is their rookie year, even though they've already seen major league at bats.
Right. So I think it's innings pitched for pitchers. I forget the number. I want to say like 150 innings pitched.
It's close to 200, if not.
Yeah, and then I think it's like 100. Maybe it's 150 at bats for hitters. But basically, so if you're under that and you go into the next season, so in baseball around September you get September call-ups. It's a time for the roster to expand. And major league teams will bring up the younger guys to, give them experience, but they're not going to hit that 150 in that 1 month. So meaning, they could basically play in September, even play in the playoffs, but as long as they're under that 150 or whatever that number is, they can technically be eligible for Rookie of the Year the following year. We saw that with the Tampa Bay, Randy, outfielder for Tampa Bay. He crushed it. Oh, man. And later in the season, he crushed it in the playoffs. I think he has the rookie record for hits in the playoffs now.
He does. He surpassed Jeter.
Yeah. And then...
for the postseason hits. Yeah.
And then he won Rookie of the Year. Yeah. The next year. And people were like, wait, he's not a rookie. We saw him in the World Series. Well, that's why. But teams... people might think that that's a good thing for the young players, but it's really not, because teams would take advantage of this. They would take advantage so they don't have to pay them that major league salary. What I was gonna say. Yeah, they don't have to. They're still riding their minor league. Right. Now I know that has increased. Yeah. Your minor league net level salary now. I think that is getting near towards football, where you're in the league, whether you're on practice squad or not in NFL, you get a minimum of like $475,000. So anyway, but now with this new, you can't manipulate service time, right? And then the clubs are now rewarded with draft pick compensation if the rookie that they placed on their opening day roster finishes in the top 3 of like MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year. And I think that's what we're seeing with the Mariners, right? Bringing up J-Rod like opening day. Mm-hmm. I think with that rule or that incentive, I think teams will start following the Mariners and start calling up their young guys because of the current incentives. Yeah. But that wasn't in place before, right? No, so a lot of these teams would, again, hold their young talent, and they'll do so. So let's say you have 3 really good guys in AAA, but then you have another guy in AA, and you're thinking he probably needs an extra year. Well, you're going to wait. That way you can then bring them all up together and hopefully, do really well. And you don't have to pay them those big salaries. Yeah. And the arbitration, they basically are on these rookie contracts for X amount of years. It's just, I mean, these clubs were just taking advantage. They were taking advantage of the young guys.
Just manipulating your payroll. Yeah. And which, you're making money off of that player, and then you go and you manipulate his service time. But so in this new incentive, it works for the club and for the player. Yeah. So if J-Rod finishes in the top 3 of rookie of the year, mm-hmm. then he gets his full service time. Or
MVP or top 5, I think, in MVP.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think MVP, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young. I think there's one other thing. But if he finishes like second place, let's say he finishes second place, then he gets his rookie service time. Yep. So then, not only if he is credited for his full year of service time, but now he's on that pay scale that he should be on. Right. And then, one of the players I was thinking of was Adley Rutschman. Yeah. From the Orioles. Yeah. So if they really think he's rookie contending, he's going to perform in that for Rookie of the Year. if he's going to be in that conversation, it makes absolutely it makes perfect sense for him to play in the first few weeks in the minor leagues.
Yeah,
to bring him up.
And I hope so, because I put money down that he was going to win Rookie of the Year. But now with J-Rod getting called up.
You're all, excuse me, bookie, can I redact that?
Yeah. The way my service time works. But no, yeah, that's a big one that really isn't getting enough attention.
It tackles that concern of manipulation pretty aggressively.
There's so much manipulation from the teams in general. I mean, look, let's use the Astros because they're the trash can of the league, right? Yeah. Everyone hates the Astros. If you like the Astros, I'm sorry.
If that was my team that did what they did,
I would be embarrassed.
I'm not only embarrassed, I'm not supporting their merchandise no more. Like, so like, hey, weren't you a such a fan? I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm just a baseball fan now.
Yeah,
because that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
but anyways,
so even before they cheated, they were manipulating the system heavily, and which goes into the draft changes now.
Yeah.
But the Astros would tank, right? They would tank their seasons. They got a whole bunch of top prospects.
Yep.
Carlos Correa, for example, #1 overall pick. They got a whole bunch of top prospects. They held these guys in the minor leagues for X amount of years till everyone was ready. Called them all up. Bregman, Correa, Tuve, all of them, right? And
see, Tuve didn't seem to perform until the addition of Correa
until the buzzer, right?
Yeah, until the
buzzer. But no, like that was just an example of how teams just manipulated the system. They got their draft picks, then they held all their young guys, kept them, kept the service time down, and then brought them all up at once and dominated.
It gives a little more honesty to the club,
right?
To not screw that guy over. And what if that guy is doing well, major league level, should be getting paid major league money,
right?
Gets injured, and then he's stuck in the minors for 5-6 years,
right?
And
it goes back to the Jock Peterson tweet that I said at the beginning, like, do better. Like, you're killing me, Smalls. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, there's teams out there that are currently doing this. It's not that your team isn't, signing free agents. Like, that's not necessarily what we're saying. It's you have talent probably in your pool. Orioles, their catcher, that's a good example.
I actually thought he was going to come up last year.
Right.
To be honest,
we all did. Who's another one that got called down recently, and everyone was like, "What?" The Reds guy. I can't think of his name. But another top prospect.
He got sent down.
It was official that he didn't make the major league team.
Just recently?
Yeah, just recently, last week, and everyone blew their mind. Like, how is he not in the league? Like, he was dominating. So it's just, again, there's certain teams that are really taking. Oh, I'm sorry, it might have been the Pirates. It might be the Pirates something, but it's just certain teams just absolutely take advantage of the current rules.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm not for certain. But I agree completely that they did this and made this decision, and I also like that they have the opportunity to, more often than not, spring training, towards the last week of spring training, beforehand, the players that they were thinking about bringing up saw some heavy playing time.
Yeah.
And then when they make the final roster changes, they left them off or whatnot. So I think that this 5-time rule, they can only go up and down a maximum of 5 times. I think that also allows the clubs to, just like this Baltimore situation they were talking about.
Yeah.
That we're gonna, maybe the first month we're gonna leave him in AAA ball, and then bring him in, or a month is too long. I think 3 weeks max, if that's what they're gonna do. I haven't looked at their opening day roster, but if that's what they're gonna do, more than 3 weeks he's ready. I saw him in spring. I think he's ready.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's ready. The Orioles organization, they think he's ready. It just depends on the movements that they're going to make to make that possible.
I'm hoping with this rule it gives it gives people an opportunity to play in the big leagues and show what they're capable of, because they're not going to be able to be up and down, sent up and down multiple times.
Yeah, I like that. So there's the next one we're going to talk about is the trade deadline. For those that follow baseball, you realize that July 31st is the last time clubs can make trades within the league. Sometimes it was the 30th, sometimes it was the 1st. But this last CBA negotiation with Manfred, Freudian slip, received the authority that the trade deadline was going to be July 28th through August 3rd. So
yeah.
I like that, but I also don't like it, because then you're waiting. Oh, is my squad going to do something?
Yeah.
Or is this squad going to do something? And then now it's kind of, I think it'll take away from the excitement of the trade deadline.
Of the deadline?
Yeah, because but I do like the fact too that the West Coast teams that could be like, they could kind of hold off to see what East Coast teams do, because their time frame.
Yeah.
And then so I always then they come back and like, I think we're gonna change it this way. But I with the adding a couple more days on both ends, I think it kind of helps. It kind of helps clubs have a more surety of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then it allows for the process to be like, okay, well, or should we pull the plug on this guy? Should we not? I think that gives you more time, and so I think they're going to be more exciting trades, because they're still, even with the extra days, they still are. You already know by the All-Star break in July, you kind of have a good idea of where your club's going to stand.
Yeah.
So with these extra days, maybe they have a couple more days that they need to make more phone calls to other clubs to be like, hey, you need this guy, we need 3 of your guys, or this guy and the other. I think it's okay, and it gives what I'm trying to say is it gives more opportunity for clubs to say, well, am I buying or selling?
Yeah. I'm indifferent on it. I don't see it as a huge change. I see your points. I think I've always liked the baseball trade deadline over the basketball trade deadline.
Yeah,
like
it was more exciting.
Yeah,
to me.
And I like, well, it's not just that, it's just the fairness around it too. Like, I look back at, the Nets picking up like LaMarcus Aldridge or Blake Griffin, and basically he didn't play any games but played in the playoffs, like, for his new team. Like, that was weird. Like, in baseball you can't do that. You got to play September. So I've always, preferred the baseball trade deadline, but the excitement part, that was another thing. Like, you knew something big always happens around trade deadline, and then I mean, we have winter meetings, which is a whole nother thing. I think what's funny about this rule, and my first reaction when I heard it was like, wait, so Major League Baseball gave a deadline, a 1 day deadline at a specific hour for the CBA to be done. Yeah, you're giving
more time for the trade. Yeah.
That was my initial reaction, but yeah.
So going on with the trade deadline, a new rule, they're going to do a draft lottery, and I think that's great. The draft lottery.
Finally.
Because it was something that's long overdue.
Yes.
And it ties into the manipulation of service time.
Yeah.
Because now, starting in 2023 with the draft, the first 6 picks will be determined by lottery.
Yeah.
So all 18 teams that fail to qualify for the postseason have an opportunity to participate in that lottery.
Yeah.
That gives them, the stat was that the 18th club stands to have only a 0.23 chance of acquiring the number 1 pick. But it changes the strategy of the teams looking to lose a lot of games and rebuild.
It goes back to throwing games on purpose that I was talking about earlier. No, I like it. I think it makes the league more competitive. I think it's long overdue. I think it's about time that baseball jumped on this. I also like the idea. It hasn't been finalized yet, but with the CBA, they agreed on doing an international draft as well.
I love that too.
I do too.
You're right.
I found it very, very interesting, the comments from international players, though. For example,
I haven't seen anything.
So Tatis spoke out a lot about it, and he was basically
he's always
saying,
got something to say.
Yeah, he was basically saying that it's actually going to make it harder for international players to now find a job, or get paid the money that they're making now, and because they were making, you know, a ton of like signing bonuses from the international, and now with the draft it's going to be, you know, that pick gets X amount of money.
Okay.
So
I mean,
like,
I can see that, but at the same
my
same
argument
hand,
is like there's an international draft now, or
Yeah.
not, you know, there's going to be, which means that
I
you're
feel
going to
like-
have a lot more awareness.
Yeah, you have not only awareness of other, but it opens it up more.
Yeah.
Because in the last 10 years, the last 10 years, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Japan plays, and oh yeah, so does South America.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you didn't realize that before? I mean,
Yeah.
they're through history. How many players, you know, you can name offhand that come from,
Yeah.
and they don't realize. I think I totally agree. There's more awareness of these international players, so I can see what Tatis is saying.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, they're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Because there's more awareness.
I don't
They
know.
might even get paid more.
Right. I don't know how it's gonna work for example, when a player signs, you know, that's playing, you know, in another country, there's a lot of, you know,
There's a lot of red tape.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops to kind of jump through depending on the country and the team.
See that I disagree with. So
That's-
they need to have the rules. It doesn't matter what country, if it's put in the international category,
Right.
then you don't have to jump through these hoops and pay these surplus taxes and whatnot. So I think that's
And-
going to be better for baseball.
And non-baseball fans are probably scratching their head like, what? Because in basketball, you have one draft, and like it can be, I mean,
From wherever.
right, exactly. And no, in baseball, we are trying to have an international draft. And whether it's on the same day as the draft or not is irrelevant. Right now, the biggest headache is there's, for example, some like the Japanese teams, like the club, if they want to sign a player from the Japanese team, they have to pay the club to be able to negotiate
just to
with the
talk
player.
To them. Yeah. That, see, I don't understand
So
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I get it. They do that, and if that player does not sign with that ball club, they don't get reimbursed.
you're right.
So it was a crapshoot. Do I want to spend this money talking to this player?
Crazy.
with the outcome maybe not going in my favor. So now this is, I think and Japan is going to be the country that gets hit the hardest.
Yeah.
Because and they don't even, to my knowledge, they don't even run their leagues. It's team level.
Yeah.
They play under the umbrella of the Japanese league, but like the Giants, the Yomiuri Giants, one of the better teams, they had more control. It's almost like they ran the league.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you want to talk to this guy? So how much,
And we're
how much you
talking
gonna pay?
millions.
Yes, yeah.
Millions of dollars.
It wasn't
to talk.
just
No. It was like
It
20
wasn't just
mil.
100,000 or 20,000. No,
And it's
yeah.
crazy. You'll see it on like, you know, like back in the day, I remember seeing maybe Daisuke. Like I remember it's like, oh yeah, it's, you know, they paid 30 mil. It's like, oh cool. It's like, but 5 is going to the player. 25 went to
Yeah,
the team.
exactly.
Like it didn't make sense.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
how
makes
they're
sense.
gonna make this work, but I really hope they like come to some sort of agreement with, you know, all these other leagues to, you know, really figure it out, because I think it'd be really good for baseball. I think it'll help the sport grow, and I'm excited for it. And I see Tatis. I see what he's saying
Right.
as far as the money, because
I can
big money can be
understand,
made.
but yeah.
But I would prefer a draft for sure.
I like the draft. So speaking of international, another rule is they're going to provide language courses, English and Spanish as a second language course. And I don't think this one's got the attention that it deserves, because how many players speaking Spanish they have a translator.
Yeah.
Now, what the rule is if at least one player requests to have either English or Spanish as a second language before April 15th of a given year, then each team will provide English as a second language and Spanish as a second language courses to help better communicate.
That's cool.
Because there are some interpreters, like Matsui's interpreter, he made a lot of money. And I'm like, how do your guy makes a lot of money, but Ichiro Suzuki's guy is getting paid peanuts compared to Matsui's guy.
Yeah.
So now these translators are going to be like, what the heck, man? But they're going to be scratching their head thinking, why the heck did you do that to me? But in the same right, like it opens up for even maybe there are some international players from like the DR or Puerto Rico that their English is not very strong, but they know certain ball clubs have a lot of players that can help them, or personnel on the front office that can help them. That might persuade them to go there. But now with this rule, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they can sign to whoever club that they think that they fit, and then they're like, "Hey, well, I'm gonna."
I think this is a really good start. Puig is the player that sticks out in my mind a lot. That yes, there was that language barrier, but there was also the culture shock.
Yeah,
and so I think that's the next route that this goes is some sort of like integration, that or baseball could just start being a little more open minded. It's funny that everyone hated Puig for his antics and. The bat flips, the everything, right? But we're now celebrating Tatis for doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, let the kids play. It's just funny.
I appreciate that initiative, but some of them go a little overboard. So it's like, I appreciate Ryan Sandberg's, not only act like you've done it before, but, I mean, there are sometimes, I get it. If it's a walk-off, I understand a little more celebration.
Yeah.
Or a walk-off that gets you into the postseason,
or like
gets you that division win.
Yeah, or like there's a story behind it. Like if you got plunked, that before,
yes.
and then you go deep.
Yes, I understand that, but that let the kids play initiative, some of it I feel that it's just, well, let the kids play and you do whatever the F you want.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Yeah,
but
as it is right now, I love it. I love the emotion behind the game. I love it. It's I don't know. It's how we play too. Culture wise, like it. Hispanics are just very passionate, and so I love it. But it's cool right now. Now, once we get to like just super overboard stuff where you're disrupting the game or just like,
Well, some of the for those of you that play the show, some of the show celebrations.
Oh, come on now, yeah. If they start doing that.
If you saw this on a Major League Ball club, I expect the pitcher next round I wholeheartedly expect him to get plunked.
Yeah.
Like, he deserves to get beat.
And that I've seen, so like Trevor Bauer has a podcast. I know Bauer's popular for all sorts of other stuff, but he has a podcast and he's like, yo, I like bat flip against me, like I like it. Like if you earned it. And he's always like, but I would never throw out a guy that like shows me up like that, because to me I should just do better. Yeah. And me, if I was a pitcher and someone like went ham like MLB the Show celebration, I'm for sure drilling them.
Like, I'm coming inside, pretty deep.
Yeah.
Or oops, I missed my location. And you got one on the side of your ribs. But and in that same right, that competitor in me was like, I'm striking this mother out. So I like it. I do like it for reasons that you mentioned. But sometimes it's, top of the first, their third pitch goes out and they act like they just won the game. It's like, young man, sit down because there are 8 innings left to play. Yeah. So that's where, wait a second here. So I do like that. Moving on, the All-Star game could be decided by the Home Run Derby. I read that headline. I'm like, what does that even mean? So if the All-Star game is tied after 9 innings, instead of going to extra frames, and I understand this because you're going to push the pitchers to play more than they had already planned on. And the All-Star game, yes, it matters. The All-Star game matters, but in that same respect, what if there's a club that's almost over the hump and their all-star gets hurt for pitching in extra frames or hitting in extra frames.
Yeah.
So I like this, and think about this. Say that this year's All-Star game ends in a tie in 9 innings, and then they go to the home run derby, and it's Shohei versus the polar bear or Nelson Cruz to determine.
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
That'd be cool.
So if they're gonna, I don't know what they're doing with that, but if that's the case, the home run derby should be played after the All-Star game.
Here's
how many more people would tune in to the All-Star the home run derby?
For sure. And I never agreed that the All-Star game should determine like World Series home field advantage. I thought that was like just too much on the line, especially for exhibition game.
Yeah,
but I do like. Look, I like what they're doing. They're trying to make the All-Star weekend more exciting. I like this. What I would say, hot take, bring a skills challenge. Basketball has one.
Football has them?
Yeah, I think it would be really cool.
That would be super cool.
Yeah. I'm picturing like a I don't know, maybe throws from the outfield, right? Or a Top Golf bunting type contest.
I like that, the throw from the outfield, but like you get points based on if you're throwing from right field, how many bounces?
Yeah.
1 bounce, 2 bounce, or whatnot. And the argument can go, if the guy's trying so hard, he can hurt himself. But the player understands where it's going, and where it's from. So they're not going to throw out their arm to do this skills challenge, because none of the NFL players ever did.
I mean, even like pitching stuff where you got hit certain maybe quadrants.
Targets. Yeah. That would be.
They had that with
dope.
QBs.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Anyways, MLB. Sub to our channel and listen.
Yeah, get on there. So I saw in your chat, Manu Boy 24. That's my brother, by the way. Love you, bro. Joe Kelly against the Astros. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I wanted one of those shirts where he's like,
yeah. Did you see the whole painting thing that they did on the side of the wall in LA?
No.
Oh yeah, they did this whole mural for Joe Kelly.
I liked Joe Kelly, but it felt weird because he played for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And being a diehard Yankees fan, and Mookie Betts, I felt weird rooting for him.
Yeah.
Given my background in the teams I like. But then when he came to the Dodgers, I was like, heck yeah, man, I could just be all about it now.
See?
And
I didn't like Joe Kelly because when he played on the Cardinals, he broke Hanley Ramirez's ribs, and I thought we had a chance to win the World Series that year.
I remember that.
But yeah, striking out the Carlos Correa, that was awesome.
That was I love it. And him.
Yeah.
Him, striking him out made it that more pleasurable to watch because of the mouth on that young man.
To me, Bregman is the worst on that team. I used to follow him on social media. That guy just talks all the time too. They've been pretty quiet lately.
It's because lately they're with the changes. They may think that maybe their title gets removed.
Yeah.
Because it could get to that. It should get to that. I have a podcast that I spoke of a couple of years ago on that very same thing.
Yeah.
If there's no World Series champion, real quickly, there's no World Series champion in 1994. I know that the runner-up would be the Dodgers in that year, but they're not going to want to be handed.
Right. No.
So it's just there's an AL winner and an NL winner, and then it's just taken away.
Just like, in 17, Dodger fans, we don't want that title. We just don't want the Astros to have it.
Yeah, and they don't deserve it. We speak on that more in depth another time, but I agree 100%. Nobody's beefing about 94 not having a World Series title. I'm okay with 2017 not having a World Series champion. Another rule is they're bringing back morning baseball. And for those of you that stream to NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service, they have exclusive rights to a number of games, and they're all going to be played on Sundays, and they're going to start the games early as 11:30.
They actually just announced Apple TV is going to have rights for Friday.
I like this.
Yeah,
I like this.
I don't mind.
And pure Cubs fans are going to really enjoy this because those of you that know, the Cubs were the last franchise to actually put lights up on their stadium.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because I understand why we play in the night now is they just want to make more money.
Right.
Because, people. But if you think about now with the pandemic, more people work from home.
Yeah.
So you could have day games.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love that because if you sat in a batter's box under stadium lights and under the sun, you understand it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. There are some stadium lights that the way they are in that stadium, they shine in a certain way that it is almost brighter than the sun when it's at the batter's eye.
Yeah.
So I like this rule.
I think what I like about it is not just the time frame, but the streaming aspect to it. I think being able to watch baseballs on other platforms, whether it's Peacock, whether it's Apple, whether it's the MLB TV.
Well, now people they don't only have cable.
Right.
People don't have cable.
So
I don't have cable. I don't say people. I don't have cable. All my stuff is streamed.
So
streaming services.
So I like that, bringing baseball to audiences. I think that's a good move.
Because they're like you said, you're able to watch it on more platforms. So those that just use streaming services, I mean, I purchased MLB TV because
and I got Peacock for the Fresh Prince, the new Fresh Prince.
See, I got Peacock for Yellowstone. I love that Yellowstone. I really love that. So that's why I got Peacock. When I did the YouTube TVs, I had 3 different emails running, and then once the thing ran out, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy Peacock.
Yeah.
So I got Peacock TV streaming services, and it made it a lot easier for me to watch Yellowstone. But so a lot of the rules that we're talking about, when we're talking about the ones that are going to start immediately in 2023, is the oversized bases. And the league was passionate about this. I mean, I understand it. There are certain times when I played baseball, some of the first basemen, they put their foot on a certain way on the bag, and I knew that I couldn't round first base the way I wanted to maybe stretch it to a double. So I understand that it eliminates, and when the pitchers cover, even though they have practice to get this done, so they can understand, the pitchers have infield practice so that they know that they got to cover first on certain times. Even though they have that, you can still see pitchers put their foot down a little too far, and then they get stepped on, or they run into each other. So I like it, but it's I think you're going to see a lot more singles stretch than doubles because of this. Because a base runner has an opportunity to place their foot on the bag in a certain area to then elevate them around the corner. As before, you had to navigate your way around the bag and the first baseman or the person covering first.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing was a safety thing. I think it's a long time coming. I don't know what took them so long to do this. I think that
with all the injuries, why did it take so long?
And we're talking first base is the big spot, the primary spot, but second base too. I mean, that's why they had the whole neighborhood play, which once they introduced.
When you mentioned second base, I think there's going to be an increase of stolen base attempts at second.
See, I don't, because I just don't think that the league is.
Because how many players are out just by a little bit? You extend that base, they're going to be safe now.
All right, so you're saying okay. I don't think that stolen base attempts will increase,
but
I think that they'll be safe more often.
Yeah. That's.
Because I just think the game's kind of shifted away from steals and bunts and whatnot. I would love for it to go back there. It did for a little bit with D. Gordon and Hamilton. Yeah. Remember, but.
Well, and not only that, this is the first time that I remember seeing that now second base is actually going to be with the increase. Now second is going to line up with first and third.
Oh yeah.
which most people didn't think about that. But I always, when I was trying to stretch to a triple in my young age, I was like, man, not gonna redirect. But anyway.
But like for me, it's like it goes back to like the neighborhood play, right? They would do the neighborhood play so people didn't get hurt, and then when instant replay came, I mean they cut that out because they're like, dude's not touching the base.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
So I think instant replay was the biggest change, period, rule change in baseball out of like all time. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, and with that change, they're still getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Is what bothers me.
Yeah.
I like it because for the times the neighborhood rule, so now that eliminates that.
Yeah.
And then there are times where the infielder can sell it enough to where the umpire believes it. So I like that.
Yeah.
But how are you still getting it wrong?
Yeah.
With all the cameras that show ball games today, how are you still getting it wrong?
Yeah, I think so. I think a change that should happen is why aren't the umpires calling it? Why can't the umpires watch the replay and then make the determination, just like in the NBA? Why is it some randoms that we don't know who's making the call?
Yeah,
that's weird.
I never liked that either.
But a change, it's not necessarily a rule change, but a change with replay is now the umpires are going to be mic'd up for that.
Have you seen that clip?
The first one, yeah.
I like the commentators are like, first down.
First down, yeah.
It was really weird. It was really weird. But if you're in person, because if you're watching the game on whatever broadcast you're watching, if any broadcast that's worth their salt is going to describe it to you.
Yeah.
Because so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. If you don't know baseball,
right?
You know what's going on.
And they're listening into New York and stuff, so they're like, they're challenging this or that.
But if you're watching it in person,
you have no idea.
Know the game, you got no idea.
Yeah.
What the argument's for.
Or you're like, it's either this or that. Now you know for sure what's being challenged.
So I do like that.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. Because you're so long you listen to it in football, so I really was expecting we're gonna be like first down.
Yeah.
And I think one of the umpires should just do that just so we can get that sound bite for
he'll go viral.
Yeah.
Let the umpires play, man.
Automatic first down. I mean, scratch that. Play ball. Another thing we touched on it in the beginning, the pitch clock.
Yeah.
The big leagues 2023, they're talking about a 14-second pitch clock with the bases empty and 19 seconds with the runners on base. I like that it's not just one flat number.
Yeah.
Throughout, that doesn't matter what's on the field behind the pitcher. So I like that because I like that if the runner's on base, the pitcher's going to take a little bit more. Yeah. And especially if the game's on the line and the runner's in scoring position, they're going to take a little bit longer, and they should.
And you got to do more signs, too, as a catcher so they don't steal.
Well, I saw in the spring training they've got this pitcher-catcher device, and then the one club was using it, and it wasn't working, and you could hear the pitcher, I'm just going to throw, and I can't remember what club he was with. I think it was Detroit, and he's a minor leaguer trying to make a roster spot. So he's like, I'm just going to throw. You better catch it. And so I like that. It's like, dude, my livelihood is on the line. Yeah. So just catch the dang ball.
Yeah.
So the pitch clock, I don't think that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm indifferent. I'm more curious to see if they actually adhere to it or if they actually, enforce it.
I don't think they will.
Or how they will.
The only way you could is behind the batter have a clock.
Flag on the play.
Like a play clock in the NFL. But I don't think the pitcher really needs to see it, so to speak. But maybe if it helps them, or the pitcher, if he's a left-hander, he's going to be facing first base dugout. If he's a right-hander, he's going to be facing third base. Maybe put a clock on top of there. Yeah. I think that would. I don't know. I just don't think it belongs behind the umpire. Now there should be one if they're going to put the clock up there, there should be one on the scoreboard.
So there is now. It's usually to the left, somewhere scoreboard area.
Because I mean, the umpire's keeping track of so many things as well. You make it easier for them. Don't make them have the clock in their head or the other umpires on the field. Like, that's going to distract for them calling the game. So it's got to be visible.
Yeah.
And so I saw that.
I just can imagine, like, just like in basketball, it's like, oh, if we started the clock too early, can we reset the clock? And now you just, like, that just killed the whole reason behind it.
Yeah. So I don't. I think that you can, because like we talked about briefly in the beginning, there are pitchers that took forever.
Yeah.
So now maybe those pitchers are like if the guy goes 16 seconds, whatever. The runner's on base, he's 22 seconds, like that, whatever. But there are pitchers that take forever, and they're like, okay, 13 seconds, come on, guy. So I think it'd be hard to enforce it. Not difficult to enforce it. It's just that it would be a little. You might run into issues, and it disrupts from the game of play. So I think that needs to be that's a rule that can be loosened, and I'm okay with that. Now I do like this, banning the shift.
You like banning the shift?
I do like banning the shift for two reasons. For one, it allows the hitter to just hit, and he doesn't have to think about anything else but hitting.
Yeah.
Because there are some pitchers, if they go inside the way the batter hits, it's automatically going to be an oppo hit, and then if you put somebody, kind of like Rover, just hovering just in shallow right field.
Yeah.
I mean that hit is taken away. Now, the shift I don't like. I never liked it at all. Because then there were times where I would see ball clubs that I was following and I was watching. They did the shift, and then that hitter just shortened his swing, and then
Yeah,
you don't see the shift on any other level except for the major leagues.
I always thought that for some shifts where like there was no third baseman, for example, especially on left-handed hitters. Why aren't they just bunting down third and get like an easy double? So like for me, I go back to you're making it. This is something where you're making it easier for the hitters, and now pitchers are going to have to adjust.
Right.
And this is just another Manfred rule to try to get more at bats, trying to get more balls in play, try to increase scores, and try to get fans' attention. Now that being said, I also didn't like some of the shifts being done. I'm just saying, if that shift was in place, just bunt it down and, you know, get on base.
As a player, I'm thinking,
right.
Well, I'm not going to try to swing. I'm going to bunt.
As a fan, I'm like, why can't you just bunt? That's like a basketball player can't shoot free throws.
Yeah.
Now, all that aside.
Because of all that analytics, though, all those analytic departments probably are out of a job now.
Yeah. I like that.
Because now it's kind of like punishing the clubs that actually go a little deep into analytics.
The Dodgers used to bring in 5-man infield. I think I saw it work one time. I was never a fan of it. Now, I think I'm good with the shift, but I don't like the over dramatic shift. Like I don't think infielders should be on the outfield. I think the left side of the infield needs to stay on the left side and the right side stay on the right. But
I see like positions. So I played shortstop and third base, and there were some hitters. The left-handed hitters that I knew that they were going to hit it probably up second base, so I was hugging the bag a little more.
Yeah.
But never was I behind second base
in the grass. Yeah.
So I'm okay with shifts, but that to me is not even really a shift. That's just a defensive position in the infield.
Yeah.
Because outfielders do it too. Outfielders play a little bit more to left or right. They'll come up on hitters that are not that strong. They'll go back. So that shouldn't change, and it's not changing.
I'm gonna miss seeing some of the
those
real creative
over
shifts.
Dramatic shifts.
I went to a spring training game. It was Dodgers and Giants. I can't remember who was at bat, but I think maybe it was Belt, but they had.
Brandon Belt?
Yeah, it was weird. They had the infield shifted to the right, like he was gonna pull.
Okay.
But so far that there's no third baseman. They basically had 3 guys on the infield on the right side of the infield, and then third base was basically playing up the middle.
Okay.
But the outfield was shifted the other way for him to go oppo.
No.
So that was really weird. That was an interesting shift.
Like a just in case.
I don't know.
You know what
maybe
I mean?
maybe
Like a
maybe
just in case.
Maybe he just, if he hits in the outfield, he just goes oppo more. But if it's a ground ball, maybe it's just on the right side. I don't know. Look, that analytics have all that info.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I want to see some sort of normal shifts. I guess the double play shifts. Like that stuff's normal. I'm good with that normal type shifting.
Yeah.
Not the dramatic 5-man infield. Stop that, Dodgers. It worked one time.
We were like, what in the world are you doing right
Yeah.
now? Yeah, I totally agree. And it's some of them, it's like you can tell that the players, they get the call that they're supposed to be in a certain spot. You can tell the look on their faces like, dude,
Yeah.
what the frick am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So that I totally understand that one. So that's all the rule changes that I have.
Yeah. I think we got to really everything that I wanted to talk about as well.
So we should go to picks. We should put our picks in.
Well, you were right. So if you guys haven't checked it out, check out our TikTok, check out our Instagram. We made a pick today. I want to formally apologize to the Cubs for calling them a dumpster fire. So James picked the Cubs. I picked the Brewers.
Yeah.
Look,
rest in peace, Jimmy Wallace. That's my boy.
But Cubs somehow pulled it out. It was a close game though, 5-4.
5-4. Okay.
5-4. Yeah. Look, the Brewers.
The relievers got the W.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
because they ended up tying it up in the, I don't remember, seventh.
Yeah, it looks like 7th.
So yeah, that look, to me, I think the Brewers have, man, I don't know, probably they're up there. I would say top 5 rotation. The Brewers.
Okay.
So I thought that they'd had a chance to sweep the Cubs. I'm sorry. I know you guys had Suzuki. I knew about Wisdom. You know what got me was Nico. I didn't know Nico was on the Cubs. I was sleeping. I think he played for the Tigers last time I saw him. But he came through and had some ribbies for the Cubs. So I don't know if I would change my pick knowing that, but
yeah,
I'm just sorry for calling them a dumpster fire.
That's funny. What's
the games tomorrow? Game? You want to do the games tomorrow?
There's
or more today?
Yeah, let's do more today.
All right, let's see. All right, well, Reds and Braves just started. Who do you got there?
Reds and Braves. I got the Braves.
Yeah,
because the people that I would want to watch is Matt Olson, the new addition of Matt Olson.
Yeah.
And I love watching Joey Votto.
And we're going to get into it when we break down the teams, but I think the Braves lost Freddie Freeman and got better, and we'll break that down. But yeah,
I do too. So Joey Votto at first base. Mm-hmm. It's the 14th straight year, and he moves past third place. Past second, he's in second place now of the Reds franchise history. Opening day starts at first base.
Oh, so wow.
The one he's behind now is Charlie Hustle himself. Pete Rose has 16.
That's awesome.
That's pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I got Braves in that.
Yeah, me too. That one's easy.
Even though I want to see Joey Votto do well, I'm going with the Braves because I think Olsen is going to do really well.
But that being said, everyone check out Jonathan India. India on the Reds. That dude's nice.
And he's underrated.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
He's young.
I think that's the youth is what's not getting him the respect he deserves. But I think that his play through the season he's gonna garner that respect automatically, and it's not even going to matter what other people think.
We have the Mets and Nationals starting up. This one, I would pick the Mets all day, except McGill is the starting pitcher. Who?
Yeah, that's right. He is.
So.
And the Nats got Coburn.
Yeah, Patrick Corbin. Yeah, he's
Patrick Corbin.
So I like the National. Look, the Mets are gonna Met. That's the only thing. Every time I go for the Mets, they always just like come back on me and
You're
like
what the F.
yeah. So I hate picking the Mets, especially with Patrick Corbin pitching and some guy named McGill, but Lindor is my favorite player.
Yeah.
Out him and Betts, so I'm gonna go with the Mets.
So I'm going with the Mets too, and not Lindor. I mean, he's gonna be Lindor. He's gonna do what he does. But Starling Marte for the Mets. I'm interested to see.
You know what?
His speed, because he's got speed.
I'm so glad that he's on a good team. Diamondback signed him.
Yeah.
He had a death in the family. I forget. I'm sorry. I can't remember who passed away, but he had a death in the family.
It was an aunt or an uncle.
And they just traded him away right away. Goes to the. Anyways, I'm just happy that he's on a good team.
Yeah, and I think he fits well into their system. He plugs well.
Oh, for sure, bro. This is a good one, and this one's gonna be tough. Astros versus Angels. You got Ohtani on the mound.
If another pitcher besides Ohtani, I'm going with the Stros. But because Ohtani's on there, I got Angels.
I hate the Astros. But I'm going with the Astros.
And the Angels, having Ohtani, he actually is able to play in the lineup.
Yeah. So here's my thing.
So there's essentially in that game, there's not a DH. He's just a pitcher in the slot and he's playing.
Yeah.
He's going to hit too.
Yeah.
So I think there's a Ohtani rule that they're calling it.
Yeah.
If the pitchers can hit, you don't have to have a DH, and it's just a.
How cool is to have your own rule,
right?
In a good way, unlike the Chase Utley rule.
Yeah. I think that argument, if the pitcher can actually hit, I think that is the sole rule or argument, if you will, that is going to keep the conversation open for universal DH or not.
Yeah. Because
there are some clubs, and this is not even a National League club.
Yeah. And
their pitcher can actually hit. So I think that is going to have other ball clubs say, well, hey, we don't need the DH because we have a pitcher that can actually hit. So I mean,
I think this is going to be the game that ties us right here, since you got the win for the Cubs. I think Astros pull out. I think Valdez is underrated. He's a really good pitcher.
He is a good pitcher.
I think that the Astros, just even without Correa, have just too many weapons. Tucker is a beast, underrated. I don't want to talk about the rest of the guys because I don't like them.
I do like that Ohtani. That could be because before he was in the lineup as a pitcher, but he didn't hit. There was another DH.
Yeah.
If he was pitching, he was pitching, and if he was hitting, he was either in the outfield or he was DHing.
Except one game, I think they did without the DH.
I think you're right. So I like that changes. So that changes Valdez's approach. He knows he's facing off against Ohtani as a pitching matchup, but at the same time, now he's got to worry about him in the lineup.
Yeah.
Where before, if he was going against him, he didn't have to worry about that. And Mike Trout's going to be Mike Trout.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Trout's playing.
Yeah. If you don't know who Mike Trout is, crawl from underneath the rock that you were and get familiar.
But I just think Jose Altuve.
Trout is an excellent player, and I look forward every year to see him play. But this year he is not ranked number 1.
He's not. He's behind his teammate.
He is behind his teammate,
which is weird.
That is weird.
And I think he'll reclaim it this year. But
oh yeah, I don't.
But bro, the Astros. So I have their lineup up: okay. Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Tucker. So that's their 1 through 6. I think that's beast. I don't know what Jeremy Pena is, but
Tucker has got underrated speed.
He is a very good all-around player.
And the thing about that too is he's a hometown Houston boy.
Yep.
That's really cool. That's everybody that plays baseball and you grow up watching your team, you want to do that. There's not very many players that get a chance to do that and be significant at it. But I do like that kid, and I do like you can be the fastest guy on the field if you don't know how to run the bases. You're not gonna be a fast base runner.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of these players that they're fast. They've got good speed, and then you see them run the bases, and some people might think, well, you are a fast runner.
Yeah.
Your 40 has got to be under 4.4. Like, how are you not? It's different. If you watch when baseball players are rounding the bases, you see that they take this over exaggerated rounded second or third, and that's even at first.
Yeah.
There's times that happens, but it's more commonly on second and third. You understand that's the reason that they don't seem fast.
Yeah.
From home to first, they're fast, but then they have to make that turn. If they can't turn well on the bag, it doesn't. Because then you're losing momentum. Then you got to start up again, and then you're losing momentum, and you got to start up again around towards third. So then some of them, when they're out at the plate, and they have nearly knocked over their third base coach, I'm thinking, what are you doing? Put your left foot down on the bag and go, or some, and I don't know. That just, to me, that baffles me.
We got Padres and D-backs. So Bumgarner versus Darvish.
See, that's a good matchup. I took a little bit to think about that, but I really like Mad Bum, and I loved Darvish when he was with the Cubs, but I'm going with the D-backs on that one. I love David Peralta in left field.
He's underrated.
Definitely.
He's very underrated.
He is a player that I wish nothing but success for him, because I've been to a couple of Diamondback games in person. He's such a nice guy. It doesn't matter, because I know some players are nicer to children than they are adults, and I do understand why they do that. For some, that's a different conversation. But Peralta he seems like he's one of those players. If you have him in your clubhouse, he makes it more enjoyable to play for that club.
The D-backs they got Marte back. He's healthy now, and when he played last year, I think he hit over 330, limited time, but over 330 still. Christian Walker, good. Christian Walker and Carson Kelly had some breakout stats, so I like the Diamondbacks, but I'm going Padres. Even without Tatis, the only thing that's weird about their lineup is they got Austin Nola, their catcher, leading off.
That is weird.
That's really weird. But I mean, look.
So, of all the, I would put
Jake Cronenworth.
Cronenworth, okay.
If it was my lineup, that's who I'm going with leading off. But yeah. Anyways, they still got Machado, who kills lefties, which Bumgarner is.
I didn't get to see Nola play in spring, so I don't know if his bat has improved.
That's just weird, though. I had a bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it comes down to the other guys just being more comfortable in the other spots.
That could be too.
But even Profar. I mean, I don't know. That's a really weird. I don't think I've. When's the last time you saw a catcher lead off? Not even Joe Mauer days.
Yeah. I can't think of one. Maybe one comes to mind. I think Elston Howard of the Yankees in the 60s led off once, but it was because they were away or they were home or something, like that somebody was not feeling well.
I mean, they've known about Tatis, so I don't know. That's a really weird lineup, but regardless of Austin Nola, I mean, you got Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth.
I'm excited to see Voit.
Yeah.
Luke Voigt play? Cardinals and Yankees.
Bro,
Premier League
honestly,
play.
Trent Grissom is another one that could lead off. He has a lot of speed, almost like a traditional lead off from back in the day. I don't know. Anyways, I got Padres on that one.
Okay. We should have wrote down what we got.
Like right now?
No, well, it's okay because I have mine on my paper, but
I have mine through my sports books.
Oh, okay.
Which Royals are really crushing me because I did not expect them to come out with a 3-1 win over
they won?
the Guardians.
That was my I had Royals over the Indians. I mean Guardians. My bad.
By the way, how many times do you think we'll say Indians over Guardians? Over under 50 times this year.
I saw the C when we were talking about picks. I saw the C last night. And I on my paper I put Indians. I put Indians first, Indians at Royals, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's the Guardians.
I had I was playing MLB The Show, and I got my little soapbox. I was like, I wish they would invest more in a franchise mode where. Back in the day, I had a baseball game where you could set ticket prices, you could set popcorn prices, you could pick up your team, move them. Look, if I want to move the Dodgers to Puerto Rico and name them some minor league team name like the Guardians, I want to be able to do that.
Yeah, I remember that too. You do even the club seats.
Yeah,
you could change the club seats.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. The Cardinals killed the Pirates 9-0.
That was my pick right there.
Oh yeah,
Cards.
Pirates are the worst team in the league.
Wainwright was pitching.
Yeah.
And Pujols is starting at DH. So
hold on, can we?
That's easy.
Before we go to the next, let's just. How did Pujols do?
Adam Wainwright is his 7th home opener, and he surpasses Bob Gibson, for the most home openers in franchise history.
That's so cool, man.
I love Bob Gibson.
How do I?
Yeah, you go box right there.
Well, how do I switch the team?
I think you just click on the Cardinals logo. Oh no, it's on the right side. Pujols, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he went 0 for 5.
Dang, left 3 on base. Arenado 1 for 4, 2 ribbies. Dang.
What about Tyler O'Neill?
2 for 3 with 5 ribbies.
3.
5 ribbies.
Dude.
And Goldschmidt, he had 4 walks. That's nuts. So Goldschmidt leading the league in walks this year.
Right. Already.
Other than that, I don't see another game that hasn't started except the postponed game. So we had Mariners versus Twins, which that was going to be a very interesting game, and then we had Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah.
Another tight one, but without Chris Sale, I was going to go Yankees on that game, and then I was going.
I think it's safe to say that our picks throughout the season are probably never ever going to go against the Yankees to lose, but they are going to lose sometime at some point. So it'd be interesting to see when I actually don't pick them to win. I'll be like, oh, I can't even say it. You say it. But yeah, I had the Yankees. Cole over.
Evaldi.
I do like Evaldi. He's a quiet
flamethrower.
And he's got sniper. He's pretty good. Not gonna lie. And but I think Cole is just usually in the beginning of the year. Cole is he's on point, and then he may falter a little bit during the All-Star break, and then he gets back on track. So Cole starting off opening day.
Did you pick for all of them?
Yeah, I got Friday too.
Okay, who'd you got for Sox Tigers?
And staying with the Yankees and Red Sox. I think Cole has some huge redemption to do for the 2020 ALDS. So I think that in his mind he's like, dude, I gotta get this done. And Trevor Story from the Rockies. I'm excited to see.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I'm excited to see Donaldson and Ike, the Hawaiian Hustle, Isaiah Falefa. I'm so excited to have him with the Yankees as a fan. And on paper, it makes sense. A lot of people don't know who he is, from playing with the Rangers.
Yeah. No, he's a stud.
But if you think about it, in the last 22 years, he's the fourth shortstop to be listed on opening day for the Yankees.
That's crazy.
I mean, obviously, a big
Jeter.
portion of that was Jeter. So you had Jeter, and you had Didi Gregorius, and then you had Torres, and then now, hopefully, Falefa's here for a long time. Kiner Falefa. I love Ike. Watching him play. I looked forward to teams playing the Rangers, and I could catch the games because that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
You know, he reminded I think this is my opinion. You know, whatever, someone could argue that and whatnot. But when I think of Rangers, consistent players in the Rangers organization, I think of second baseman Michael Young.
Yeah. No,
and
facts.
I think that Ike he wasn't Michael Young status yet. He needed a little more time with the Rangers, but I think you could put his name with consistency because he gets on base.
Yeah.
And that is something that the Yankees are struggling with.
Yeah.
You know, they have all these big players that can hit it. You know, they can gift it to the stand. They can gift it to the fans in any bat. But I think that you gotta move people accordingly. You gotta get them on base and you gotta move them over because solo home runs are not gonna win games. They'll get you on the board, but they're not gonna win games.
Oh, Manu came through. Mitch Garver led off for the Twins in 2019-2020. I did not know that.
Okay.
I like Mitch Garver. I think that was a good pickup.
It was weird not seeing Mauer there.
Yeah.
When he went to first base, I was wait, what? You're not supposed to be there, man. You gotta get behind the plate. Anyway.
All right. So Sox Tigers.
I'm going with the Sox.
Same. Yeah, I'm going Sox all day.
I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez is a good pitcher, but I just think that the lineup that the Sox have, I don't think that he's gonna be able.
And they added a bat with the Kimbrel trade.
Oh yeah,
They got AJ Pollock.
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was surprised. When Pollock got out of there, but yeah, that is. I mean, Rodriguez. Like I said, Rodriguez is good. I think the White Sox are going to put up 6 on him. I mean, I know we're not talking about scores,
Yeah.
but I think they're gonna put 6, so that ERA is not going to look too good for his first time out this year. But he's going to bounce back, and Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez will do good throughout the year.
All right. Are we going day 2 on these days,
Sure,
or just?
we do Friday.
No, I'm talking about same club, so like the Brewers Cubs again.
Oh, I mean, I'll give my pick.
All right, who do you got? You going Cubs again?
No, I'm gonna go Brewers the next day.
Yeah.
And it's just because I really like Woodruff.
Me
watching
too.
him pitch last year and just see him develop through the organization, I'm gonna go with Brewers in that matchup.
Yeah, I'm going Brewers as well, because I know that they feel bad about failing me today, so I know that they're going to come back stronger.
They're gonna get it done tomorrow, just for Joel. You know what? My bad.
Come on, Brew Crew. All right, A's and Phillies.
Aaron Nola, Didi, and Harper. That's.
I really like. Montas?
And Kyle Schwarber is going to debut as a Philly.
Yeah,
So that's a good addition.
I feel bad. Like the A's did this huge like sale and got rid of like everyone. I mean, they I don't know. You can never count the A's out. Somehow they still manage to win.
Exactly.
They
still get in there.
But on paper, the Phillies just have too much like offense. Like actually they have like zero defense. It's all offense. Like they're just gonna they're just gonna out hit everyone. That's how their lineup is built. And so if they can't get it done against the A's, who are basically don't have anyone left, then they're gonna struggle. But yeah, I'm going Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely. I got Phillies. Like I said, Harper, Didi, Aaron Nola, and Kyle Schwarber. That's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see. Schwarber did pretty good with the Cubs. He did well, and then I think he was with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And he did pretty
He
good.
got picked up late.
But I think he is one of those guys that feels more comfortable in a National League ballpark. I know it doesn't really matter those type of things, but it does in some respect. Because they're still gonna manage and play as if there's the pitcher's gonna hit. So I think it doesn't change much for the day-to-days, and I think Schwarber is one of those guys that he seems more at home in the National League.
Yeah.
That's correct me if I'm wrong. That's just what I see.
So Orioles and Rays.
Orioles and Rays. I got the O's.
Really?
Yeah, I got the O's because I like.
Because of the pitcher?
No, I mean.
Means is mean.
Yeah, I like him. So it was difficult because I think Kevin Kiermaier is very underrated. So it was hard for me to pick, but I really like Means. They have a couple of other players on, the Orioles have.
Trey Mancini's a great story.
Yes. But dang, what's his name? You have the roster up?
Mm-hmm. The young guy, Jorge Mateo?
No.
Pitcher or Cedric Mullins is another one.
No, Cedric Mullins. That's the player that my brother uses to beat me every single time. I swear.
He is good.
No, Jamani Jones.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him play.
I'm going Rays because Wander Franco is a beast, and I think he's developing into one of my favorite players. So I'm going Rays Wander Franco.
Okay.
Brandon Lowe. I mean, yeah, they and then the reigning Rookie of the Year, Mr. Randy over there with all the postseason records. I think the Orioles have better pitching. This is one of those where I'm more cheering for the Rays to pull this out. I'm going Rays.
See, McClanahan, he's not bad. I don't recall very many outings seeing him, but I like him. It's just that I was going with, like I said, there's a lot of people on the Orioles and Means. That wasn't my my final. Okay, this is why. I went with him. I like Means. I like what he's got, but I don't. I'm probably going to be wrong, but it was just it made more sense for me on paper to go with those.
Dodgers Rockies.
Oh, that's easy. Dodgers. It's Walker Buehler.
Yeah, we'll get into it on the breakdown. I think Walker's a little overrated. I know Dodger fans. I know.
I mean, I could see
he gave up like 5 in spring training.
He's overrated, already. But with Freeman was doing really well in spring training.
Yeah, I think too. I don't know. Look, I had some concerns with spring training for sure, but I think some people were way more concerned than they should be. I think the Dodgers come out and show their offensive power, unfortunately, against this Rockies team. Here's a hot note, though. Every opening week and probably the first month of the season, Rockies historically come out like super hard, come out swinging, and they will usually be number 1 or 2 in the division. But yeah, I'm going Dodgers opening day.
And it's not to discredit Freeland. It's just I don't think that even though they're in the same division, I don't think he's ready for this lineup. I mean, like I mentioned, Freeman, Betts is always fun to watch. On any given day.
I don't know if Muncy's gonna play, but I mean, even if he doesn't, I don't think. I think we're good regardless.
Trey Turner.
Yeah.
The speed is just.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Mariners and Twins.
I went Mariners.
Yeah, me too. Robbie Ray on the mound.
Yep. I like Robbie Ray. I'm excited to see.
I think I'm
J-Rod.
just rooting for the Mariners, honestly. I have if the Twins were playing just about anyone else, I would probably say the Twins. I'm excited to see them play as well. I kind of like their roster. I think they're sneaky, but I really want the Mariners to break that postseason drought. And I like their roster, and yeah, I'm going with Robbie Ray.
I like Robbie Ray. I like J-Rod. I'm kind of looking forward to see how Correa and Sanchez, if they were able to, not eliminate the beef, but just
coexist.
We're teammates now, so we have the same goal in mind. So that other BS, that could be dealt with on another level at another time. So the J-Rod, I got this stat here, will join Griffey Jr. and Vizquel. They both debuted in '89. As the only Mariners to debut on opening day at 21 years or younger.
Wow.
There's a lot of people coming through the Mariners organization.
Yeah.
I thought there would be more people on that list.
And look, I mean, Twins have some really good players. I mean, Byron Buxton, right? They got Byron Buxton, Kepler, Alex Kirilloff. Jorge Polanco. He crushed it last year. But yeah, I mean, the Mariners though, they got some young talent. J-Rod, Jared Kelenic, Mitch Haniger crushed it. I think he's gonna have a really good year.
I like France.
Ty France.
Yeah.
All right. Marlins and Giants. This is actually a really cool pitching matchup. They got Webb going against Alcantara.
I think I went with Marlins, right?
Yeah, Marlins and Giants.
So I went with Giants.
It's very difficult for me to say Giants. Jeez.
I do like Webb. Normally I would say Chris Bryant on the Giants squad, but that he's gone. Brandon Crawford he's always fun to watch.
If it wasn't Webb pitching, I might be able to say Marlins.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, he's a solid pitcher.
He is, and he does well. But I like that. Like Brandon Crawford.
Yeah.
If I had a fantasy baseball team, I haven't done that
in years.
Decades it almost seems. But I like how he's consistent. So I like watching him. Who else on the Giants?
I mean, they got Jock now, so I don't know. I think Marlins.
I think Jock can be plugged in almost to any club.
Yeah.
That's just the type of player he is. It doesn't matter. Like if he wasn't on the squad during spring training and then he gets traded before Game 4 of the season, I think it's a seamless transition.
Yeah.
It just seems like that type of guy in the clubhouse. I've never heard of how he is in the clubhouse, but he seems like that type of the guy in the clubhouse that he can just be interjected into any clubhouse. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone says he's a good clubhouse presence, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Giants, unfortunately. Mets Nationals. Ooh, this one's another good one. You got Scherzer versus Gray. Gray was the Dodgers' top prospect, who they traded to get Scherzer.
Is Scherzer's playing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go because was his nickname Blue Eye?
Yeah.
So because of his competitive nature, I think he is gonna go nuts on their roster.
Yeah.
For this start, and That's how he is anyways. He's a huge competitor.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do anyways. But with that fact that you just said, that stat that you just plugged in, that alone, you think he doesn't know? You think he doesn't know? I think he knows.
Yeah.
And he remembers, and he's like, oh, okay. So remember this guy? Remember me? You know, type of deal. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they matched up.
And I don't think it was intentional. It was just the guy that was ready on that time, because Corbin was their opening day. Patrick Corbin was their opening day pitcher.
Yeah.
And so
But you don't think Scherzer could have gone day one?
I think he might have been like, hey, my last, when he saw, because would they put the first three, the first 3 or 4 on their rotation for opening day, because usually opening day they've kind of changed things. It takes a little bit before they actually follow the rotation. But I do agree with you. I was going to mention that where Scherzer's last spring training start, and then he's like, you know what? There's some, I just got to do some more therapy to get this going, and then I'll be ready for the second game. I think that's what happened. I agree. Maybe not.
Maybe probably has more to do with the injury of DeGrom, but because DeGrom would have gone 1.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think it's fascinating. But yeah, I'm going Mets.
I'm going Mets too. The type of competitor that Max Scherzer is, I find it very hard to believe that didn't go into his mind. I may be able to go day 1, but you know what? You know who's on the other squad's rotation in game 2. I think maybe I feel better one more day.
Yeah.
He's just a huge competitor, and I love it about him. He's one of those pitchers that you get a double, triple, or you hit a homer off of him, and next at bat, I guarantee he's fanning you.
Yeah.
Or if not, he's going to take you deep into account, and he's going to get some off-speed pitch that you're not expecting, and then he's going to get you out. But you're not getting another hit 2 times in a row.
No.
Especially if you get a homer off of him. I don't think you're getting 2 times in a row.
I wish Josiah Gray the best, but yeah, Mets. All right, Rangers, Blue Jays.
Rangers, Blue Jays. Who's their pitchers?
So Gray
Gray
the guy from
Barrios?
he's played for the Rockies, and then
So I got Rangers.
Rangers. Okay, so Rangers, they've just picked up Seager, right?
And Semien.
Yep.
Marcus Semien. So this one is Texas. This is their 13th different starting pitcher on opening day, 13 consecutive seasons. When I read that, I kind of was like, well, maybe I should change my pick.
But Rangers are built for defense and just offense. Their pitching is just that's the next part that they got to improve on.
The last pitcher for the Rangers to start consecutive opening days, Millwood, 2009.
Yeah. I'm going Barrios. I'm going with the Blue Jays. My fellow Puerto Rican. Let's go. Plus, I just love the Blue Jays team, bro, and I love the offensive power. Vlad Jr.
Speaking of Vlad Jr., that made me feel so old when I saw Craig Biggio's kid, Kevin Biggio, and Dante Bichette's kid.
And Vlad Jr.
And then Vlad Jr. I remember Vlad Jr. at the home run derby
being a chubby little kid.
Holding his dad's bat. And then just, commercial, you could see that Vlad was right there taking an interview, and Vlad Jr. is just taking some hacks on a tee. Yeah. I remember that, and it didn't seem that long ago. And then all of a sudden, they're getting called up, and I'm like, wait a second. Oh, geez. So that's weird to see that I have watched their entire careers of their fathers from getting elected or getting up to the show and to retirement, and now I'm watching their sons do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's where I felt old.
And look, I really like the Rangers addition. See, I was a big Corey Seager fan. I followed him. I saw his first home run in Arizona. They played the Diamondbacks. He got called up, hit it to right field. I was there for his first homer.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta go Barrios. La Máquina, his nickname. That's my guy. Yeah, I'm going Blue Jay, so we differ there.
I like when they did the player nicknames.
Yeah.
And Seager's brother Kyle was
Corey's brother. All right, Reds versus Braves.
You got Morton for the Braves?
Yeah, and some guy I've never heard of for the Reds.
He did pretty good in spring training.
I'm going Braves.
But I'm going Braves.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Astros Angels.
Odorizzi for Houston?
Yeah. And then Detmers for Angels.
I really like how Odorizzi pitches. I don't know. I think does it show you who is going to play?
It just shows rosters. It won't show lineups till tomorrow.
Okay.
But
because if they got, I wonder if they would plug in Ohtani and DH.
Oh.
Because if they do plug in Ohtani, I would say Angels, but I think the Astros are gonna rebound from an opening day loss and take that game.
Yeah, I'm going Astros. I think the Astros win back-to-back games. All right.
Last one for Friday.
Yep, Padres versus D-backs. Yo.
I'm going with the throwing Samoan Sean Manaea.
How did they pull that trade off?
Right? You see Bob Melvin in the spring training? They got a couple of sound bites and a couple of videos of him, and he's saying, we're trying to get people to do. He's got his sunglasses on first of all, and so he's extreme poker face. It's like, we're gonna have to make sure, because without a new arm, we got to make sure that the roster, we get the guys that need time. We get them time to do. And in my head, I think he's saying, "Dude, I got my guy.
Yeah. Padres.
How funny was that? During spring training, Manaea gets traded from the Oakland A's to the San Diego Padres, and within 5 to 6 hours that he gets traded, he's then pitching in spring training against his former team.
Yeah.
Because I saw the green glove. My brother was telling me about he's got his green glove, and that green glove that got him into trouble sometimes, which I thought was ridiculous in the first place. I don't care if they have a hot pink or hot yellow glove.
Yeah.
As a batter, that doesn't distract me. It actually might even be able to pick up the ball out of his hand, coming out of his glove a lot better. But anyways,
baseball.
That doesn't matter. They got to pick on something. Dude, we got to get a longer table, man. My big arse up in here. But Sean Manaea, I enjoyed watching him play in Oakland. A lot of my friends that are Oakland fans, one of my BJJ instructors, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors, Paul Nava, he's from the Bay Area. I know for one, he commented on either Instagram or Facebook. He's like, "Dude, I can't believe that we let Manaea go," and he liked watching Manaea.
Well, I knew they were going to make a trade. I was surprised that I went to the Padres because they already had good pitching, and now they probably have the best rotation in my opinion. 1 through 5 Padres.
I didn't think he was going to the Padres. Yeah. I thought that they were selling on him because they kind of in the off season you kind of saw a lot of their I don't want to say just a clearance sale, and they're just trying to sell a lot of people. I didn't see that. I didn't think that way. I thought that they, again, we're rebuilding type of deal.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to figure it out, though. I mean, the fan base, Oakland fan base, they've been there. The majority of them, they've been there for a long time. Don't you want to win? Like, I think 2001, 2002, and then again in 2008 or 9, you saw them kind of come back.
Yeah.
But the last time the Yankees came back and won in the DS, they took a while to kind of come back from that.
Yeah, for sure.
That flip throw by Derek Jeter, of those of you that remember, was just unprecedented at the time. And then
one of the greatest plays ever.
I mean, you think about the mentality, the baseball IQ to do that. He was a special player. I mean, I know a lot of people think he was overrated, but just take a quick look at his stats. He deserved to be unanimous. I love how in his Hall of Fame speech he calls out the one writer that didn't vote for him. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Padres on that one.
And that's our opening day games for today and tomorrow. So we'll keep track. We got those down. We'll keep track and maybe have a running record. That'll be kind of fun.
That would be to see.
I'm 0-1.
You're 0-1 already.
I'm 0-1.
Yay! I got a victory,
bro. I just went too crazy on the Cubs. They probably heard it. That's what happened. They tuned into the podcast. They subbed to the channel. So if you're not subbed, do that because the Cubs are subbed, and it motivated them to get that win. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cubs fans. But appreciate the support. Make sure to follow us. So LeoCor Gaming on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, JamesTheFanatic, same thing. We're on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. We got some TikToks going.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're everywhere. Follow us.
I indulge in the occasional tiki-talk every now and then. My kids make fun of me. It's funny how I originally signed on just to keep track of what they were doing on that platform, and then I ended up getting a little more followers than I thought I was getting. But yeah, we're on all social media platforms. LeoCor Gaming, JamesTheFanatic. I'm James. He's Joel. We appreciate you tuning in. Anything you want to add?
No. Well, actually, I guess. So, Glitch Energy. You can use code LeoCor Gaming, get a discount. Good stuff. This is actually my favorite flavor right here. It's the Tropic Thunder. Not like the movie, but it has passion fruit flavor, straight off the island, imported from Puerto Rico, fresh. I think I made half of that stuff up, but it's really good. Check it out. LeoCor Gaming for a discount. So yeah, appreciate everyone. I see a lot of lyrics. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for jumping on.